Welcome. It's been a big week in gaming. I'm Integot and he's Swinny for episode 12 on Sunday, the 4th of October. In this week's show, we'll be discussing Steve. Minecraft is in Smash Brothers. CD Projekt Red going back on their word, crunching for the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. And we had to pivot our format, but thanks to Nintendo, we are doing a top 10 Smash Brothers reveal trailers. Swinny, how was your week?
It wasn't bad this week, you know. Just another Kemco game, released.
Gaming.
So yeah, that's the mark of a big week in gaming for me. Did they release a Kemco game this week or not? It's actually kind of frustrating because I just completed one and then I'm like, I'm going to go check, and then they'd release one like the day before, and I'm like, damn it!
Because you said you've told me before. It's like is it like literally every 2 to 3 months they release one?
No, every month.
Every month. Oh,
Yeah.
My God, I was literally going to say every 4 weeks, and then I thought that's too crazy.
I don't think they've missed a month either since they started putting them out.
I don't really understand how that's possible to churn it out. Like, it's actually, we've spoken about this on the podcast. How I was saying how games, it's not as episodic as TV is, where there's like, some shows that have 26 episodes a year. But it's probably the closest thing to that, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, these are all fully fledged, self-contained games that often have very different battle systems and stuff. But what it is I'm not so, I wouldn't say impressed, but it's not so much the like Xbox and console releases, because all these games have been made in the past for mobile and stuff. It's more, how did they put so many together back then? Because if you look at the release schedule. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to talk about too much because I'd actually like to do a bit of a special feature on Kemco and how they went from making like Top Gear games or whatever they were called, to just churning out these monthly RPGs, JRPGs. It's just kind of just a bizarre journey.
It's funny because one of my favorite podcasts, Sacred Symbols, they actually mentioned the Kemco games and how like they were playing one of them, and I was just like, wow, because I couldn't imagine they're very popular or very big. Seems very, very niche.
It wouldn't surprise me if they sell quite a bit on the Switch, actually.
Are they on the Switch?
Oh, yeah.
All
these games are on Switch.
Yeah. Maybe you're right, yeah.
Yeah, just because they're a good kind of handheld format. And if it wasn't for me, like, there's some of these games are actually pretty good. Some of them are very not so good. But it's like, I could see this being, there's a couple of games when I do that feature, I'd probably recommend to people if they're looking for something, that's like 15-hour RPG, then, some of them are actually pretty decent. So
yeah, nice. And did you have a crack at Mario 35, the Battle Royale?
No, I actually did watch quite a few people playing it to just get an idea of how it goes. And, look, I think it looks like fun, but I'm probably not going to bother trying it. I think I'm happy to just like watch a couple of people play it every now and then.
Yeah, I installed it when it came out and played it. I think I came fourth first go or something, and then I just didn't pick it up again. Like, I think, I don't know. It's really, I obviously got to play it more, but with Tetris 99, to me, it's still Tetris. I know that you don't think it is, but I still feel like that's very much Tetris. Like, I can just play that like I play...
I'm not saying I don't think it's Tetris. It's just not the Tetris I like. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I misrepresented you. But, like in the sense that I just play that and I feel like it's Tetris. It feels like Tetris to me. Whereas this game kind of doesn't feel like Mario to me. I don't really know what it does feel like. It's a bit of an odd one, and I don't know, I just, I was playing it kind of going, am I having fun here? Like, I wasn't even really sure. Like, it was interesting, it was odd. And then it suffers the same problems as Tetris, right? Where you just have some people who just dominate. So it's kind of hard to win at times. I'm sure if I played it a few more times than one time, I'd probably hopefully get a win and win a chicken dinner. But yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, it's free and it's limited. The thing is, though, like, I know that people are getting really annoyed about the limited stuff. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, history is littered with things that, are seasonal or limited, or trying to draw people in for a short period of time. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing overall.
Well, probably the worst thing I saw about the game, and this will definitely evolve as you start to get people who, really know how to game the systems in it.
Yeah.
Because, it's just jumping in and playing it like Mario is you're not gonna, get that far eventually. You've got to learn exactly how to balance the coin levels alongside, okay, well, which level am I going to go back to with the warp and stuff like that. Pardon me. But the thing I found was that the game just seemed to drag on with the last couple of players, like 15, 20 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, it's way too long. Like, I came fourth and it was like 7 or 8 minutes in, and it wasn't because I just fell down a gap, which is pretty bad, but, it wasn't like I died because of the enemies or anything like that. And again, as opposed to Tetris is so pure. This, to your point, it's like I felt like people are already developing strats for it, and like they just weren't progressing. So I started copying them because I was noticing people just keep on going back to 1-1 if they could. So I was like, okay, I'll try to do that as well. And you got to get the fire flower. I don't know. I'm kind of glad it's limited because I don't think it'd get that much of an audience, to be honest, in the long run. Like, I just can't imagine people playing this in 6 months' time.
Well, it also depends. So they have those like special event things where they'll mix it up a bit. So it also depends what they start to add to the game in that regard.
That's true.
I think
that's true.
Also, from my understanding, Tetris 99 has a private lobby function, doesn't it?
Well, they've expanded Tetris 99, so they've got DLC for it. So you can actually just play regular Tetris with Tetris 99 if you get the DLC.
But specifically, there's a private lobby function, though, isn't there?
Yeah, and from memory, I think you can play with friends as well, online even.
So the reason I bring that up is because I was watching a streamer playing, and they were like, "Oh, there's no private lobby function like there is in Tetris 99," which means, see, normally what they could do is everyone watching the stream,
could join in, right?
They could join in this private lobby. So I think that would actually be an interesting addition to add to the game, because that would extend the life of the people streaming, which then extends, the general life of the game.
I mean, it would be cool to cover it at a later date in a special or something around, how much a game's getting influenced by the appeal that they may or may not have to streamers. Because, we've even seen in the last month 2 massive games that have really risen up, I think, because of streamers more than anything else, Among Us and Fall Guys. And then again, like, on Fall Guys, it's starting to have a massive drop off in player base compared to what it was when it launched. But yeah, I just wonder how many times studios think about, hey, how's this going to appeal? How easy is it for people to play with their viewers? How do you make it viral? How do you get, big YouTubers or streamers playing against each other, like in an easy way? Like, it's pretty critical these days, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of Mario 35, yeah, I'm content just to, some of the content creators on YouTube that I watch might put a video up of highlights or something. I might watch that, but as much as I love 2D Mario, it doesn't really appeal to me to play this particular version.
Yeah, I find that so funny because, as we both know, and, the audience probably doesn't, like, you've sunk like stacks of hours into making really, really awesome Mario Maker levels. You probably played almost all the Mario games. So it's pretty funny that Nintendo are like, hey, to celebrate the 35th anniversary, here's something for free. And you're like, yeah. But I don't know. It's like one of those things that's such a cool idea. And then sometimes when you go and play it, it's just, it's not necessarily that great.
The thing, though, is I already play so many games. So I do have to sometimes just pick and choose. Like, does that really interest me to play it? If not, then I'd rather just play, we'll talk about those Chemco games before. I enjoy playing those because they're almost like they're a way for me to chill out, relax. They're not very taxing and everything. Whereas with Mario 35, it's kind of just, maybe it's just not the thing that I'm looking to play, something that does require skill and competition, Sometimes I'm just looking for something completely different.
And because it's so long, it can be, I think, very frustrating, because it does seem like the average match is like 20 minutes. So you get down to the final 2 and you lose. It's like, oh my God, I got to go for another 20-minute match to try to win this. I guess that's a little bit like the Battle Royale format, but I mean, that's something that's not necessarily appealed to me that much. And just, like as you're touching on gaming, even over the last week, I feel like I'm getting really sucked back into Rocket League. And I don't know how to feel about these kind of things where you play a game and you're just not really playing any other game because of it. And it's sort of like a game that never changes. I guess it's just like playing a sport in a way, right? It's like you're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again, but the matches are different.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the nature of that kind of game. It's the game you can go back and play thousands of times. We're looking at stats this week, and I think you've sunk over probably over 3,000 games in now. Just goes to show that it is that kind of game. That is going to essentially give you almost the same kind of buzz from when you first started playing it, just because it's just built that way.
Yeah, I mean it's such a testament to that game, and I know I keep talking about it on the podcast, but I it's got to be up there as like top 3 at minimum games for me of all time. But it's just like, yeah, you're right. Like, I still play it now, and there's things I want to learn, improve. I feel like kind of a newbie because I know there's so many other things I could do better. And that's what I felt when I first started playing it. I remember because you introduced it to me, I'm like, oh, how do I do this? And I couldn't even do anything back then. I still have videos from when I was playing back then. It's quite funny to watch them now. So
we introduced
one
another one of our friends to Rocket League.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you can see yourself in them. And you're like, don't worry, you'll start to get used to it. But it's hard because sometimes it's not like people need to be trained. They just need time with the game. You just need to kind of for it to click with you after you've played, let's say, 20, 30 matches, and another thing will click with you,
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not, I played it a lot, but I'm not great. Like, I'm probably like a diamond level or something like that, so below champ. But my poor mate, like we were playing online, just me and him. And with the matchmaking, how it works, it just kind of means that he's by definition, no matter how good or bad you are when you're first starting to play, he's always the worst on the field because I'm not high ranked, but I'm like middle or whatever it is. So we're playing against people who are like midway through, like gold level or something like that. So they're pretty decent, right? And if you're just starting to play, and they're flying all over your head and everything like that, it's got to be so disheartening. Although we did, he did score a goal the other day, which was really cool.
I think in that case, you need to kind of jump in casual games by yourself for a while.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way he's going to have a chance to face against people that are also starting out with the game, which is what you need. You need to kind of build yourself up.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Like, it does help out playing with people who are way, way better than you because kind of unlock something in your brain where you go, oh, you can do a lot of different things. But then you got to go back to playing against people at your own level to improve and then feel good about yourself that you're actually winning and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. No, so it has been an interesting week. But, just getting onto our big headline news, it did actually throw a bit of a spanner in the works for us. And we knew it was going to happen. But Minecraft is coming in the form of Minecraft Steve, Alex, the zombie, and Enderman. Is that right?
Yeah.
Into Smash Brothers. So, both Swinny and I are massive fans of Smash Brothers Ultimate. And, I think it was midweek we were chatting about actually doing like a really interesting sort of draft where we're trying to guess the rest of the 5 characters. And I think we joked that there'll be a reveal. And we haven't had a reveal for like 3 or 4 months or something. And we're like, oh, you know what? It'll be this week when, they'll have a reveal. And sure enough, there's 24-hour notice that they're going to have a new Smash character. And it was even really interesting to me leading up to it where everyone was sort of assuming it was Crash Bandicoot because that was coming out this week. And I think there was a leaker that said, yes, it is Crash. And then what is it? It's Steve from Minecraft, which is pretty awesome. How did it hit you when you watched it? Because you watched it live, right?
Yeah. So I saw a lot of reactions. First of all, about this is crazy. Never thought this would happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting reading these, thinking this is one of the most obvious DLC characters they could ever do for Smash at this point. Why are people acting like it's awesome? Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen it since, especially the deep dive that they did last night on it, which we'll get into. But it's like this was going to happen. To act like this was just a meme is ridiculous. Like, it's one of the most biggest selling games in the world, one of the most popular games.
No, it is the number one. It is the number one.
Yeah.
200 million copies.
And
Yeah,
it's been long associated with Nintendo, and we know that Microsoft and Nintendo are very buddy these days. We've already got Banjo in there. Like, it was obvious this was going to happen. But in terms of my reaction, so when I saw it happen, I was like, yeah, that's okay, that kind of thing, you know. And it wasn't more like, that's okay. It was literally like, that's okay. Because they didn't show much in that trailer about how the character plays. So that's what I was more interested in seeing, honestly. And we got that last night, which we'll get into.
Yeah. And just looping back to everyone else's reactions, because I was the same as you. I was like really shocked at people going, oh, really? No, they can't. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is unbelievable. I mean, you know, I don't want to reveal too much, but our little game that we have, and we will do it, but we'll probably have to put it on the back burner for a month or so at least. But, you know, we had ranked the characters and, you know, all these characters that we think are possibilities. We had Minecraft Steve, and we're both on the same page here. Minecraft Steve is like the highest rank in that pool of highest ranked characters, most likely, from our opinion. So I didn't get it. I was like, what are people talking about? He's put Piranha Plant in the game. Like, Minecraft Steve's not hard to put in the game per se. It's just like, it's going to take a lot of energy, time, effort. But I felt like out of any character out there, Minecraft Steve was almost the most inevitable character to ever come to Smash Brothers.
And the game's director, Masahiro Sakurai, he's publicly said that, hey, he plays Minecraft.
Yeah, he's a fan of the game.
Yeah, so
it sells incredibly well in Japan. Like, that's always a bit of a factor with Nintendo, because whatever you want to say, they're very Japanese centric.
For me, it was just a matter of time. I didn't know 100% if it was going to be DLC for this game, but it was just a matter of time, regardless. And Minecraft in it.
You know, before even Smash launched, like, I was very adamant that Steve was going to come, and I was kind of actually shocked he didn't come in the first pack, because I think I said to you like ages ago before the podcast started, you know, I thought they were going to incorporate it in the DLC pack, because my understanding is they get more money from it. So even the third parties. So, you know, I thought, yeah, they're going to have it as like the fifth character. It probably would have went down a little bit better for Nintendo if he was the fifth character over Byleth, even though I like Byleth. But that was strange. And did you watch the subsequent follow-up that happened last night at the time of recording, where they actually went through the moveset and everything?
Oh, definitely, because that's what I was most interested in seeing. And oh my god, this seems like the most complicated Smash character ever. Like, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane, this character.
Well, it's not just the character, it's the stages. They had to go rework or at least think through every single stage in the game, which is like, how many stages are there? Like 60 or something like that? It's something ridiculous.
There's close to 100 at this point.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, geez. So they had to go back and think like how the block's going to work on every stage, the limits around it, like just unbelievable. Like you gotta really tip your hat massively to Nintendo and to Sakurai in particular. Like the amount of work, love that they put into this game, and you know, it really just, you know, puts gamers in such a bad light that Sakurai's the same guy that people have like given death threats to. And I know it's like a very small minority of people, but it should be no one. You know what I mean? Like, are people kidding themselves here? It's like, yeah, I would love if the network connections improved for the game, but it doesn't stop me enjoying it.
This year, if anything, this year's made me realize that whole, it's a small subset of horrible people in gaming, that applies to every part of society at this point. Yeah. I think 2020 has proven that to me.
Yeah, that's true. It's just that gaming, you know, there's so much about passion and love for gaming. It's just like very frustrating that people take this weird mentality. Like we've even seen the backlash with the fanboyism you know, where people are like, oh, you're almost like a shill for like Microsoft or for Sony, depending on their viewpoint, more than our viewpoint. But I think we're both pretty independent with those kind of things, and yeah, it's just bizarre to me that anyone can really have like very aggressive criticism against Sakurai and Smash when this game has delivered so much. Like, it's insane to me. And this is just for like a DLC. Like, think about any other company. This is like a $7-8 DLC. If you look at Street Fighter, they have the exact same pricing, or I think it's a little bit less, but you don't get like a tenth of what you get from Smash.
Well, I guess going back to the character itself.
Yeah.
They went so full in on this that we all expected, okay, they're gonna be able to build a block, or they're gonna be able to do this and this and this. I didn't even think they're going to be able to mine and manage resources, which is obviously key to Minecraft. Well, even crafting I kind of almost expected, but to then say, well, it's crafting, but you actually have resources and there's a resources bar. It's really interesting in that whole video last night that they going through all of this talking about, and it will use iron, it will use this, but they specifically didn't show you how that actually looks above the character's icon. And then when they showed that, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I play a lot of Hero, and I'm getting used to having to manage like the menu down there often. Yeah. But this is like another level of stuff, and I'm sure it will feel more natural if you actually like when you play it. But man, there's been so much put into this, but this character, I will say, has the potential to be the most broken, and also if something is wrong about it, and I'm sure they'll patch it out, but like this character, I could see being almost like the first banned character in tournaments out of Smash Bros. Ultimate, like specifically about the block building mechanic, for like people trying to recover and stuff. Like some of that stuff looks just on the surface like it could be exploited so much. It's going to be really interesting.
And we're probably not doing a good job at describing, what the character does. So, from the normal attacks, he's a swordie. So he actually has a sword. But again, the sword and, all of this stuff around this character as you're describing it, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be such a Swinny character. It's so gimmicky. There's so many gimmicks on it, until they said that the weapons, like his sword, it actually will break over time. And then I'm like, oh no, he can't stomach that. This is why he hates Breath of the Wild.
Hey, we talked about, I played a lot of RPGs that have weapon degradation. I have no problem against weapon degradation in general.
Oh my God, I gotta put a marker on the time here, timestamp this, and then bring this back to our mega episode about Breath of the Wild.
No, I have no problem about that in general. I just don't like it in a Zelda game. Like, I play, like, Dark Souls has weapon degradation, like so many do, like I love those games and I have no problem with that. But I guess going back to this character with that is that, like, Hero has a limited, uses for his moveset and stuff. Like, I'm fine with that stuff. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this character plays with that, because it's that, like, you have a crafting table you need to go back to build them. It's crazy.
Well, his regular, and I do get this. I get thrown sometimes with Hero. His regular moveset, there's a lot of like things about it. He's got swords, he's got the pickaxe, he's got pistons, like a whole bunch of stuff for his smash attacks. So he's actually a pretty interesting character. He's more of I know he's got a sword, but to me he feels a bit more like a melee character, like a brawler almost, than a swordie.
I hate the whole swordy thing, because like sword is just that's the most common melee weapon in history and in media,
Yeah.
Like that's just the way it is. Like, doesn't mean something's going to play like Marth,
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm trying to say, that I wouldn't put him in the whole swordy camp per se. And even the sword will break and then he can only use his fists. So that's the whole kind of first component of the character. And then it's going back to what you were saying, that he can mine, then he has resources, and then depending on the stage, he'll get different resources. And then there's certain parts of every single stage now that he'll get certain resources, or she'll get certain resources. It's like insane. And then he gets all the resources, and then the crafting table can actually be summoned into different parts of the level, and then you need to use a crafting table to then craft weapons, and you can go from like having a wooden sword all the way up to having a diamond sword. It's insane, this character. This this character is like wild. It's really, really cool. Like it's like,
and then
I kind of can't believe how they've put it all together. It's pretty amazing.
so and then they go, we've got the block building, right? Which will use the lowest, common resources you've got, and there are limits on what you can build, and you can only build so far out, and the blocks can get destroyed, and they'll disintegrate when you stand on them too long, and things like that. But the thing that to me just felt so out of place is that they've brought back gliding in the recovery. I can't remember what they called the recovery.
Yeah. That's right.
But the gliding, they've brought back Meta Knight and Pit's gliding, and I'm like, people didn't like this. Like, I know you're not going to be able to probably do the air combos that Meta Knight could do that made him broken in Brawl, but I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, oh no, his gliding's back. It looks less awkward, I'll say, than what it did in Brawl though. So I think they've done a better job to implement it, but
because I don't know Minecraft that well, but isn't it like after defeating some like dragon or something, he's got the ability to fly?
So I've put a lot of time into Minecraft, but it was all before when they introduced the whole Ender Dragon update, which was a while ago. I'm not saying that's like recent. So I'm assuming that you're talking about the Ender Dragon there. I generally played it on Xbox, and it was up until the point where that stuff started to come in, and I kind of just lost a little bit of interest because they made a change that screwed up my whole plan. So I just that's it. I'm over this. I'm done.
And there's just like, we're not doing it justice. Go and watch the video, because there's just so much to it. Like, and we typically, if there's a minute worth of footage, we'll probably talk about it for 5 minutes. So if we actually did that for every component, it would be here for hours. And I think until we get the character, and we should say the character's coming out in Australia the 14th of October, and in the States it would be the 13th of October. So I'm really glad that it's not weeks and weeks and weeks. I actually really do prefer when they just say, here's the character, like we didn't know about it, and then it actually comes out pretty soon after that. I wasn't the hugest fan of what they did with ARMS. I know it was kind of a way to drum up interest, because people were like, oh, what character from ARMS is it? But it just felt like it was dragging on for so long. Like, I'd rather just hear nothing and then hear something, and it's like, okay, it's a few weeks away. Although it was kind of interesting, because he was actually Sakurai, because he was the one who presented, again, from his house, the actual video of how Steve and Alex works, but he actually filmed it in mid-August, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, there is one thing about this character that it's not about the character itself, but there's been so much work put into this character to make them so faithful, and a lot of the DLC characters have been the same.
Yeah.
That you just look at Ganondorf and you're like, you're like, man,
dude.
like, I wish they would have put so much more like effort into the characters that they have, to make them more faithful to their character.
I'm going to blow up at you about this. Because we're definitely going to talk about this at some stage, but because Smash Ultimate, it's kind of, to me, putting the Smash franchise at risk or something, because it's becoming like so big. It's just so hard to top it. And I've said this to you before, and you totally disagreed with me historically. I was like, I think I'd like to see them pare it back so aggressively to like 30 characters or something. But everything they're doing with these DLC characters, I'd love if they redid all the characters from scratch. Like Mario, Link.
That's what I disagreed with. I don't disagree with them doing it for all. I'm talking about overhauling. Overhauling certain characters that have historically just been like, Ganondorf was a Captain Falcon clone, and they've made some slight changes, like they gave him a sword and everything, but it's like he still doesn't feel like you're playing as Ganon, in my opinion. And the same could probably be said, like, unfortunately it's Echo Fighters, so it is what it is, but Dark Samus is a perfect example there, where it's just like, this character just had so much more potential. So I'm not talking about all of them, I'm talking about these specific ones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we definitely have a different take on that because I would love if for this next Smash game they, pared it back and really rethought all the characters from scratch again. Because I just think, they're very stale, like the original. Like having gone back now and play Melee and a few other games, I was like, wow, there's so many moves that are actually still the same. Which I know is probably like for people who are massive fans of the series, they like that, but I don't know. I think there's a huge opportunity to do what they're doing with these DLCs, where they're just going over the top with the special moves and then integrating that into the main characters. But anyway, that's a different conversation. And with like the other thing that we haven't mentioned, there's so much stuff in here, and it's so cool, and I can't wait to play it. Is that the levels, just like Minecraft, will like be auto generated, so it's like a different. Like the Minecraft level will be different every time you play it, which is so sick.
And yeah, and they've got the different biomes, which is cool because that is such a big part of Minecraft is just having different looking trees and depending on the biome that your seed has been generated in and things like that. So they've done such an amazing job with the levels and even just having day night cycles where the villagers will go back into their homes and go to sleep. And we didn't like one of the things about the character that I forgot to mention was I love the fact that when Jigglypuff puts the character to sleep, they're actually in the Minecraft bed, which is just made me laugh so much when I saw it.
Yeah, that was cool. And then also the thing that we were waiting for was Kirby. Like what happened with Kirby when Kirby sucks in Steve or Alex. And yeah, it's so awesome. They revealed it. And they actually put some more photos out on Twitter. It's like literally like a block. It just it just looks so cool. It's just such a fun series. It's so cool. And I have to wonder if they are going. I know they've already said that DLC Pack 2 is the final one, but like they've just announced that they've sold 20 million copies of the game. Like, surely they could do another series of DLC, like another 5 characters or something.
I just want them to keep doing the DLC forever. Honestly, just keep giving us DLC packs.
Yeah, but I kind of like, honestly though, like it's a lot of money that they're leaving on the table, I'd say. Because what are they going to do? They're just never ever going to be able to get all these characters back. So this game is kind of going to be the ultimate game for a long time. So yeah, I kind of agree. I just think just keep going hard. Give us everyone. Give us Goku. Nah, I don't want Goku in Smash.
So they announced some of the Mii Fighter costumes as well,
yes,
right?
Yes. And I'm actually a big purchaser, weirdly enough, of these Mii Fighter costumes. Because I feel like it's a good troll when I play you guys.
They did the what's the name of the shooting one? What's that? What's the name of the projectile Mii Fighter?
Gunner.
Gunner, yeah. They did Gunner dirty. There's like no Gunner costumes in this whole set.
Well, yeah, you know why? Because there's been so many Mii Gunner costumes that are popular.
Okay. Yeah. But what's interesting, and I didn't click in with it till last night. So you know how sometimes they have these third party or second party or whatever Mii Fighter costumes, but they don't use the name of the game. So they had Smash Brothers cross Altair instead of Assassin's Creed and things like that, and they had cross Travis. And I kind of clicked last night. I'm like, it's because these games are like M-rated games, isn't it?
No. It's okay. So I do know the details on this. This is not planned, but this is a difference, weirdly enough, between Nintendo UK and Nintendo USA. So one of them always refers to the series, and the other one always refers to the character. And I can't remember which one's which, but depending on what stream you're looking at, or like even what information that's being shared online, like like I said, like they actually say the opposite. So one of them says the character, the other one says the series.
But in the same video last night, they had Tao of Druaga, which is a Bandai Namco game, and I know they work on this game. Don't get me wrong, but they had that, and then they had Travis.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Travis,
yeah, that was a bit odd.
In the same video.
Yeah, no, that was odd. But like what I said, typically is how it works out, because I know that's what happened with Assassin's Creed. Like one of them had Smash Cross Assassin's Creed, the other one was like Smash Cross Altair.
Okay, because the only 3 games I've seen are all M-rated games. Plus,
I don't think that matters. Because I've seen one where they had Bayonetta, and that's like are in some regions.
Okay. Yeah, but Bayonetta is probably a bit different because Nintendo published Bayonetta 2. So there's probably maybe they felt that was different. But anyway, yeah, that's just that's a thought that came to my mind. It's like all these games had that in common, whereas all the other games I see it are definitely not like M-rated games. So anyway,
yeah. So was there any of the
you're probably right, but
yeah. I'm just looking it up now in the background. But were there any of the Mii Fighter costumes that you were like, oh, okay, I might pick that up, or you just want to surprise me one day with it?
No. The only Mii Fighter costume I ever needed was Goemon. That's all I ever needed. And I played him like 5 times and haven't used it again.
So, like, yeah, so we probably should say what they are. So, we had three from Minecraft, right? So it's Creeper, Pig, and Diamond Armor for Sword Fighter. And then, yeah, what was the one that the Japanese game that I've never really heard of?
It's Gil from Tower of Druaga, which is a Bandai Namco game. It's like I can't remember. It's like a classic game. I just don't know much details about it.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what you're saying about people avoiding the ratings? Maybe that is true. Yeah, because like when they have it, they actually do put it on. I can send you the links, but I've got one where it has No More Heroes. I think in the UK stream.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of interesting. And just to round it out, so we had Bomberman as a brawler. I think I'm going to pick that up. I love Bomberman. I just thought it was odd though that depending on what your Mii, I didn't really understand what they were saying. It sounded like depending on the color of your Mii, like it changes the color of Bomberman.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You didn't pick that up?
I just don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. What else can I say?
You know the Mii fighters, I think you can give them a color. Like I usually give it purple. So I think my Bomberman would be purple then. That's how I understand it.
Then why are you asking me if you already knew?
I
don't know.
And the other one that we haven't mentioned is Travis Touchdown coming in the game. So that officially deconfirms Travis as being one of the characters. I think we ranked Travis pretty high, actually, to get into the game.
Yeah, he was actually in the... second thoughts, like, probably shouldn't have. He was actually in the top because No More Heroes 3 was coming out. So it's like, well, yeah, maybe. But clearly he's not coming to Smash as a playable character anymore.
And what's the guy's name? Pseudo 51, is that?
Pseudo 51.
I can't... Isn't there a band called Sum 51? Or is it Sum 41?
41 sounds better. That's because it's Goichi Suda. So Go is 5 and Ichi is 1. So
yeah, Sum 41. There's a band Sum 41. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Look, I didn't think it was quite. I wasn't going to pick him, but so I'm kind of annoyed because I felt like you might have picked him. But yeah, I didn't think it was as likely. But you know, they are really close. Sakurai and what is his name? Pseudo 51.
Suda 51.
Suda 51.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought that was a really good chance, but yeah, it didn't pan out. I mean, you know, getting in even as a costume, I reckon would be awesome. Like if you made that character, that would be so sick to pop up in the game.
I'm fairly certain he may already be possibly Sticker, is he not?
Travis?
Yeah, I thought he might have been a Sticker already. Spirit, sorry. Sticker, I'm thinking of Wii U or whatever, Brawl or whatever it was.
I don't recall. I mean, there's like 1,400 spirits, so
anyway,
I've got them all. But yeah, no. Like, you know, I guess we'll share our thoughts in a couple of weeks' time because this is only coming out in about 10 days, so it's gonna be pretty cool. Well, what are the chances that you'll be your Steve main?
Well, I said. Look, honestly, I play so many characters already that just adding another one to the mix is going to be interesting. But I'll try him out. Honestly, like on the surface, doesn't look like a character I'd probably want to play as, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped for it. I'm not very good at these system characters where there's like a lot of things to manage. So I'll give it a crack and everything, but. Yeah, typically, like, I'll struggle. And then, let's be real, I'm just like an inkling main for life. I just can't get away from my girl. So Just, I'll never change the character. Just can't. I always play anyone else and I'm like, oh damn, I just want to go back to Inkling where things work right. But you know, one thing we haven't mentioned, Swinny, the most important revelation, not Steve, not the stages that will effectively give this game infinite amount of stages because they're auto-generated. It's that there are more Amiibo. So they actually announced the finalization of the DLC Amiibo. I don't know if you watched it, or you definitely don't care, but I don't know if you watched it, and they were going, here's Byleth, and unfortunately it's only male Byleth, which I'm so annoyed about that, because I played as female Byleth in Three Houses. They might do a variation down the track, because they keep talking about P1, P2, so I think they'll probably do the variations later.
You're annoyed? I'm the female Byleth main, okay, thank you very much.
Sure,
I would have actually, honestly, possibly picked that one up.
Oh, really? Wow. You should get the hero because they're the ones that you play.
But hero is probably not going to look as nice on my shelf as female Byleth.
That's true. I actually think later down the track they'll do it. I don't know if you know, I'm not sure how across it you are, but with the Amiibo for Smash, so with characters like Robin, where there was a male and female Robin in the game, they actually made a male and female Robin Amiibo. And they called it like a P1 and P2 variation. And they released the P2 ones later down the track. And they're really rare and really hard to get, unfortunately. But I think they'll probably do that with Byleth. Like maybe, you know, midway through next year, late next year even, and have the female variation in the limited run. But yeah, watching this, because, you know, I think everyone was waiting for Banjo Kazooie, because that's just going to sell. You know, people want that. It's just like... Joker, because that got released last week. The Joker Amiibo is pretty much sold out everywhere. And I think it's just people who are not even into Smash. They're just like, oh, look how cool this little Joker figurine is, because they're just fans of Persona. So, you know, the Banjo-Kazooie one, that's just going to sell because that's Banjo-Kazooie. But when I was watching it and they had Banjo-Kazooie and then they had Byleth, and I was like, wait a second, Terry came out before Byleth. I was actually starting to go, oh my God, my OCD nature... They're not going to make a Terry Amiibo? I was like devastated. I was actually like really annoyed. Like irrationally annoyed.
Just the way the Sakurai actually presented these was just, man, he has such a natural, like, I think just so much humor in what he does.
Yeah, he does.
How he's like, take one from behind his back, take one from the floor, and then the whole time he's got those stack of blocks next to him, and Terry's like behind that, and he breaks through at the end. I'm just like, man... Like if he filmed all this stuff himself, like which he said he did, then just like the timing and stuff is so good. And obviously the editing plays a part there, but yeah.
He's so charismatic. Like he seems like a really funny guy. And you know, even when he was talking at the start of the presentation about how I don't have an audience, so no one can laugh at my jokes. And then there's like the perfect pause and he goes, "It's lonely." I was just like, this guy's just funny. Like, I don't speak his language, but I laugh at this guy always. So, yeah. So, and then also I love his troll of people who like Amiibo, where he goes, he had all 5 Amiibo there. So from the DLC pack, I should say. So he had also Hero and Joker. And he goes, think about it. For the price of 2 Amiibo, you could buy the whole DLC pack for Smash Brothers. Like, what a deal. I'm like, that's like throwing shade at Amiibo itself. So yeah, like obviously I'll be picking up these 3 Amiibo. They are coming in 2021, so wow, man, this thing's gonna drag out forever. And they're pretty much already confirmed that they're gonna do a Steve Amiibo. And I think with that, like, surely they'll do at least 2 variations on Steve. So they'll probably have Steve and Alex.
I'm almost surprised there hasn't already been a Minecraft Amiibo, honestly. It just seems like something that would have happened because, you know, they've done Amiibo for, you know, we talked about Monster Hunter for games that aren't in Smash, and they did, you know, Shovel Knight. I'm kind of almost surprised there hasn't been one already.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do it on a very special occasion with third parties. Like the strangest one out of, you know, and you know, as you know, I know a lot about Amiibo, unfortunately. The strangest Amiibo I think that's out there that I can think of is the Diablo loot monster or loot goblin. Sorry, the loot goblin.
Oh wait, they put that out?
Yes. So I've got
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome.
But it's the oddest one because it's actually a figure that was already released previously, like, just through Blizzard, and they've basically rebadged it officially as an amiibo. But the base of it isn't an amiibo base. It's like a weird oval base that they've put an NFC chip in and called it an amiibo. And it's like a bootleg amiibo that's an official amiibo. It's really, really weird. It's yeah. I think one of our mates really wanted it as well. Should have bought him an extra one, but yeah. So that's one of the oddest ones. So yeah, and like the other thing is what's all come out now, because there's a few people who knew about this and they've known about this for years, some journalists, and they said it was all the way back to 2018, like before Smash came out, where they'd basically inked the deal to get Minecraft into Smash. And a lot of them, I think, thought it was going to be at launch. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that it's like taken this long to actually be a part of the DLC packs. I always thought it was going to be in the DLC pack 1 just because they can make more money that way, but yeah, and look, the amount of people and kids, and Minecraft's massive with kids, obviously. You just feel like with the Amiibo, they're surely going to release at least 2 of the Amiibo for this. I wouldn't be shocked if they do all 4, like just have all the 4 characters. So yeah, no, looking forward to this. Looking forward to the Amiibo. Very excited. More Amiibo to add to my pile of shame. And that closes out our thoughts for now around Minecraft finally coming to Smash. And in other big news that really broke this week, Cyberpunk 2077. So this was pretty big news, I think, just because there's been a lot of debate, consternation around crunch in the video game industry, and I've got like some really maybe out there views on it, so it'd be really interesting to hear what you think, Swinny. But probably where the real big story comes in here is CD Projekt Red, which is a Polish developer and very pro gamer, very consumer friendly, and historically have been pretty good from a dev perspective in the grand scheme of things. Last year confirmed with Jason Schreier, and he was the one who broke this story as well, that they would not be crunching for Cyberpunk 2077, and the result of that was the game had been delayed at least 2 times officially, and I think unofficially multiple times. And now that we're heading up to its release in November, is it November 19th from memory? I can't remember, Swinny. I think they're just at a point. Yeah, I think they're just at a point with the game where it's like it's still not quite finished. It has gone gold, but as they always do, they push out a day 1 patch that they've basically just said, you know what, like we have to hit this date. They've got massive ad campaigns for the game. The consoles are coming out, like the next gen consoles.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, November 19th. Yeah,
19th,
right.
yeah. And you got these next gen consoles coming out. They can't afford it to slip out of the Christmas period of time, that they've gone to their whole staff saying, look, we have to start working 6 days a week. So they're going to start working Saturdays, presumably, to get the game done. And yeah, this has had a huge reaction in more probably the gaming press and maybe a little bit in general, with the sort of gaming public out there. But yeah, what were your thoughts around this?
Well, first of all, it's horrible to have mandatory overtime, regardless, like of how I feel about the impact on the game and people's decisions to do this willingly. Is the fact that to come out and say essentially we are mandating this, is we're now working 6 days a week and up until I guess launch. That's crap. That is just absolute crap. People, obviously people very passionate developers would be many of them probably happy to do this because they've put so much time to this. They love what they're working on. We've all been there, and in different times. When it comes to work, sometimes you feel passionate about delivering something that you'll put in that extra time. But to say that it's mandatory is just, it's rough. It's so rough, and I can't. The one thing that we haven't mentioned any statements from them, in the email that went out to the staff yet, but it obviously this isn't a decision they've taken lightly, and they've said that look, this is in direct opposition to how they feel about everything and how they feel about how development should be handled, but it doesn't change the fact that it's happened.
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough. It's rough because if this didn't happen, then you've got a whole bunch of people. Like, if this didn't happen, the game will probably push till next year, and which is going to make a lot of people, a lot of people very unhappy as well. And I think even if everyone signed on or it was optional or whatever, I still doesn't make it. I don't think it makes it right. Honestly, but it's tricky. It's yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and we should
What's your
say,
thoughts? What's your
yeah,
thoughts?
I mean, we should say that, that it is paid overtime. There is a lot of,
Oh yeah,
actually, honestly, there's a lot of people I know that, are asked to chip in and work more hours and sort of work weekends, and they're not getting paid for it. Like, they have their salary and they're still getting their salary. So, it has been confirmed that they are going to get paid an extra day a week as to what they're normally getting paid. And also the way that CD Projekt Red does it internally, I should know this, but I can't remember if it's revenue or profit, but there is an actual sort of, revenue sharing, income
yeah,
sharing amongst the staff. So they get about 10%, and it might not be profit. It might be profit, actually. It would make more sense if it was profit. It's probably 10% of profit of the game will actually be distributed amongst staff, which is very, very generous. And then they probably get the sort of normal bonuses that you normally get in video games, depending on, Metacritic, unfortunately, scores, as normally they do it. And then potentially sales goals and things like that. For me, I really don't understand the the only way I look at it is I look at games media and just go, okay, these are media people. They're just not in the artistic field, and it's a completely different realm. And then I just turn my mind to people who are creative, and then also people who are doing things that are, things that go down in history. Not like doing your regular job, like I do. I just do a regular job. But people who are doing things that people will talk about in 20, 30 years. And it's just not the same. It's not the same meaning to people. And, I look at, sports teams, they're asked to sacrifice, they're asked to travel, they're asked to, work very intensely, have time away from their families. And everyone looks at that and goes, okay, that's normal. I think there's just this weird, odd thing with, creative fields where people think it should be like a 9 to 5 job. And it just isn't. And historically, it's been proven many, many times. It's just not a 9 to 5 job. And for me, the only thing that I think is bad about this whole situation is that they pretty much went out there and said, we won't do this. Like, I think internally, you certainly don't want to have a culture where they're crunching 24/7. And that's sort of like the whole modus operandi of the studio. But I think, if you're doing anything around, the sort of mixing between tech and creative, you always just get into this situation where you think that there's only like 1 or 2% to go, and then when you really uncover it, it's actually a lot more, and then it has the sort of impacts of, I really want to rework all these things, and as I was sort of saying before, it's like, they're trying to create something that is defining of the generation, defining of their own respective careers, living up to the hype of what their rep got to with Witcher 3. And like, I don't know. And like, I should put more context out there. I've worked different jobs, and I've worked jobs where, I would work till 1, 2 a.m. And that wasn't even an odd thing. Like, we'd hear people talk about, war stories about, people working the weekend and sleeping in the office. And that's like a celebrated thing. And I'm not saying this is normal, but it is normal in some areas and some workforces and some areas of work out there. And I just look at all this stuff and I don't really understand the reaction. Like, I get the simple logic of going, you shouldn't have to do this. But the downstream impacts are, these people are getting paid decent money, and they're in Poland, and it's probably like one of the best jobs you can get in Poland. And they're going out there creating something that's truly artistic, and they need to hit this deadline. Like, that's just the sort of be all and end all of it. I mean, the game was already meant to be out, and it's going to have a massive impact on the studio if they miss Christmas. Next gen and Christmas all happening at once. It's kind of a non-negotiable. So, like, I take them for their word that they're sort of, a bit torn about this, and it's obviously embarrassing for them to go out there and say, we don't crunch is never the answer, and then they've 1 year later gone to everyone in their studio, hey, you have to crunch. But I just don't know why it's such a dirty word. I really don't understand it personally, outside of people just haven't lived it.
A lot of this is wrapped up in the fact that I can't speak for Poland and much of the EU on this, but the fact that there are no unions really for game developers, especially in the US, and what that has, when you combine that with the fact that crunch has been a problem for a long time, and you've got cases where it really came to light in Rockstar. I think there may have been some stuff around Blizzard as well. I'm not sure about that one, but the reason is because it sucks. It absolutely sucks for these people. And the problem is that when you mandate something, you take the option out of people's hands whether or not they want to. To say that it's all about being part of history and creating something. There may be devs in that studio where they're just like, this is just the thing I do to get a paycheck, and suddenly they can no longer do that. They're being forced to work an extra day that essentially is outside of. And I don't know from a contract standpoint if that's built in. That's an important part as well. Is this stuff built in to say this will every now and then you may be required to do this work, because then you should expect it almost, like that's part and parcel of contracts I've been, when you do events on weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that like mandating this is, I think that's the rough part. I'm fairly certain a lot of these people would do it regardless, right? But to mandate, I think is the part that really sucks for me. But what's different here, I think, than some of the other examples that have come up over the past, let's say, probably decade, is that CD Projekt Red have been pretty straightforward, and they've commented, back to media outlets about this. And I think they've been very like upfront and saying, look, we have gone back on our word, essentially, but we need to do this. So it's almost like they've owned up to it, as opposed to just trying to like hide it away. They've actually gone out of their way to say, look, no, we promised this, and unfortunately there's no other. We've exhausted all our other options, and this is the only option we have. I do give them credit for that. But it still makes me feel very dirty that it's a mandatory thing for all staff. And that's the thing, is I don't know if it's just, okay, are we talking every single person? Because, we know the game studios are more than just the actual coders and developers. There's the marketing staff, there's, everyone else. I don't know if it's just specific people or it's everyone. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think language matters here, and one thing that frustrates me is, and I'm not having a go at you, so don't take it like this. So I'll try to say it carefully, but I think language matters, and not so much what you're saying, but I have heard a lot of other people, the way they talk about this, they have to do this or they're forced to. It's like, they're not. Like, they're not slaves. That every day you go into work, you're choosing to go into work. You don't have to go there. And I've worked at places I haven't liked, and I've moved on. And, I've worked in environments where they ask a lot from you. And then over time, I'm like, you know what, this isn't for my life. But to kind of ask them to change what they are, like, this is, to me, a part of the creative process. Like, sometimes you get to the end of something and it's, everyone's expecting you to deliver something by a certain date. And that date doesn't move normally. So you just kind of have to suck it up. And the whole mandatory thing to me is, I look at it maybe the other way, and maybe I'm like a psycho, but I look at it in the way of, I'd probably be one of the people that was already working on the weekend, because I'm like, hey, you know what? We're not going to get through this unless we start adding a Saturday.
And then I look around and go, that, not everyone's like that though. Like, there's people that value the value. Let me just say this one thing. There's people that value their personal time. I've had to I've quit jobs over just being too stressed. And I went through a period where I was working like that, and I just said, look, my mental health and my personal time is not worth this. The business doesn't care about me as an individual enough for me to care about that. And the problem with saying, well, they don't have to do that. Well, they do, because they'll essentially, if they don't, and they quit, they'll be blackballed from working in that industry, at least, especially in
No.
that region. Oh, 100% they would be, because they're relying on references, they're relying on connections.
No,
And if you're
man.
talking in Poland, CD Projekt Red is the powerhouse there. Now, it's
Sure.
not the only studio that's in that region, but suddenly if you then say, well, I've spent my whole career working at CD Projekt Red, but I can't get a good reference from them because they felt that I quit because I didn't want to do this. Well, that is harming you. It's not just a matter of I don't want to do this. It's like you are essentially forced into doing this. Otherwise, you're going to hamstring your career, basically.
Nah, look, I couldn't, I respect what you're saying, but I couldn't disagree with you anymore. What you did was the right thing. You didn't like the environment you were in, and you made a decision to do the best thing for you, which was to get out of there. Like, I just look at it as I take it into the realm of sport. If I go into a team and I go, hey guys, we're training too hard, we're doing the extra sessions, this isn't working for my, work-life balance, that team is just going to lose. They're not going to win the grand final. They're never going to get on with it. They're never going to win a title, right? So, I've come into an environment and tried to change fundamentally how it works, which is against, that whole competitive field, rather than looked at myself and said, am I able to go into that space? Whatever you do in life, like if I go, one thing I've always been interested in is to get into politics, but that's a huge trade-off that you're making around your personal life and your relationships and all these things. It's not like you go in and go, I want the world to change around me to fit what I want. It's, you have to understand the environment and what it's all about. I had an opportunity to go into game development and into that space, but I didn't choose to go down that path because I know that crunch is just a part of that field. It's been a part of it from the start. I don't ever see it going away because people are complex. People aren't that great at estimating things. People aren't that great at, trading things off and sort of going, hey, 80% is good enough here. We need to move on instead of perfecting it and then going, shit, we don't have enough time to get through all of this. And I just look at it and go like, if you're the kind of people who are pulling your weight in the studio and then not everyone else is, like, this is kind of an important thing to do and go, hey, everyone, we have to all pull together here and not just rely on like maybe half the studio working more time and crunching. We just have to, bite the bullet and all do it together. And it's not forever also, by the way. Like they're talking about doing this now. It's probably the last like 6 weeks of development. Like that's, I don't know. I find it like totally reasonable in my world. And I find the whole reaction from everyone to be so unreasonable. So I don't know. And we've said before that I'm very capitalist and corporate. So maybe this is the ultimate nail in the coffin for that kind of stuff.
I think what you're saying, well, that's just part and parcel. Well, and this is what people have been saying for long. Well, it shouldn't be. There's something fundamentally wrong with the process of game development if that is part and parcel. Now, so what I'm asking you here is, so let's say you've got a developer in Poland that, you are Polish, you live in Poland, you've never, let's say you don't have it's not like, oh, I'm just going to move to another country in the EU. Let's say, you're Polish through and through, right? I'm just saying, right? Let's say that's not really an option that just meshes well with your personal life. You want to live in Poland, right? You're saying that it wouldn't hurt someone's career if they chose to leave because of this decision.
No, what I'm saying is that they have made a very poor judgment from the start, right? They've entered a field where if you go into games development and think that you're going to work a 9-to-5 job, you're fooling yourself fundamentally. And I think it's a different debate about, is this right or wrong? Is this the way the games industry and development industry should work? Like, I'm more than happy to have that debate one day. I think that's a kind of almost a separate debate in a weird way versus like what's happening right here and right now. Because this is an instance versus like, should this always happen? But the reality is, if you're going into this field, and I made this choice in my life, if you're going into this field, you got to accept that this is the way the field operates. Maybe it will change one day. And by the way, I think it's gotten a lot better as a whole. Like there's still some really terrible examples, like Naughty Dog. It's basically like crunch for 2 years straight. So they were working weekends for the last 2 years, not 6 weeks. I think, yes, the biggest part of this is they've gone out publicly saying, we're not going to do this. They've gotten a bunch of journalists on their side saying, this is a good example of a studio doing the right thing. And then they've backed off. Like, that's a massive error on their part in CD Projekt Red. But yeah, look, obviously we agreed to disagree on this one. I just think that you've made a decision to go in a field where you had kind of no right to go into in the first place. Like, it's like going, I want to get into politics, but I don't want people to pry into my personal life. Now, whether that's right or wrong, if they do that, is a separate thing. It's the same as like, oh, I don't want people attacking my family or me on Twitter if I'm in politics. Park the whole, is it right or wrong that people do that? It will happen. So if you do not have the stamina, if it doesn't make sense for your life to be able to take that on board with that whole sort of perspective of how it's going to work, you're setting yourself up for a fail to go into that field. I'm sorry to say. And if you can't crunch for 6 weeks, like, I don't know. Like, it's not a, hey, we're going to do this for 5 years straight or 2 years straight like at Naughty Dog. Like, I just think you're in the wrong field. And the whole thing of unions in developers, like, that's another conversation. I think that's crazy as well.
Yeah, but the reason I brought it up is because these two topics have been very linked together throughout, as I said, the last decade. Like, this has been a thing that has really been, they've been swirling, around each other. And so that's why I kind of mentioned it. So, but yeah, that is a very different thing. So.
Yeah, and look, like, at some point we're not going to get anywhere here, but I do think there's always a balance in life with these things. And I think, there was a period of time in the last 10 years where it was far too much on the studio side, the publisher side, where it's pushing that creative workforce to work themselves to the bone and then not really reap the rewards of that either. I think that part of it is really wrong. Like, I think having the developers and the people in the studio share in more of the gains is what it needs to be and needs to be more of. And getting that balance right is important, but I just think the idea of it never crunching is just unrealistic and it will never happen. But I guess we'll see. Changing gears completely. Yakuza. Yes. Do you want to take this away?
Yeah, so some interesting news. So the latest entry in the Yakuza series, which is Yakuza Like a Dragon, is actually now Series X and Series S launch title, which...
the worst name, by the way.
What, the Series X? Series
yeah,
S?
It's just hard to say.
I know. So basically, that change in itself is not a huge thing because that's actually only a small... it's been pushed forward slightly. But what's interesting now is that the game is not hitting PS5 in the West until March, which is wild because anyone that knows the Yakuza series, it's always been a PlayStation staple. It's they may have done some PC ports throughout these, I'm not sure, but it's generally always been a PlayStation series. Up until last year when they ported, they ported Yakuza Kiwami, Kiwami 2, and Yakuza 0 to Xbox and put them all in Game Pass, and they're still in Game Pass now. I said last year, maybe it was actually earlier this year. This year's been very long, so it feels like that was 2 years ago.
It's been a long year.
Yeah. So and I've actually been playing Yakuza Kiwami. So this is kind of why this news is also interesting to me, because I've kind of started on the journey of playing through these really acclaimed, games, and I'm loving it so far. But so basically, to go back to what it's releasing on, so it's releasing on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, as I said, PC and PS4 on November the 10th. So it's coming to PS4 on November the 10th, but it's not coming to PS5 until March. And Sega have not really given a statement why at this point, why there's such a delay. And I say in the West because I'm not sure about Japan. Every article that I've read has said it's coming to PS5 in March in the West. So I would almost assume that it's maybe going to be available earlier in Japan. The Yakuza games have always had a very weird development history with the West. A lot of the games got ported after the sequels had even come out in Japan in the past. So there was such a long amount of time. And they generally now, I'm not sure if they actually tried to dub them over originally, but now they generally all are just subtitled, which makes sense because it's set Kamurocho. It's set in this,
Mm.
very, very Japanese, city set of city blocks and things like that. It's obviously dealing with, Yakuza clans and things like that. But this is just really interesting because it's for it to not be a PS5 launch title, but to be an Xbox Series X for such a PlayStation focused series is really bizarre. And it makes you wonder, is it because of development problems or is it because of Microsoft? It's I don't know.
Oh, with
Do you think it
Sega?
do you think that it's possible because of the recent
No,
history of them
no,
bringing stuff into Game Pass and ports?
no.
You
I
don't
mean,
think
like,
that
if
they've
no,
done an
because
exclusivity?
no, because I think even there's exclusive launch titles on the PS5 that are from Microsoft Studios now, and they were talking about acquiring Bethesda back in July, and that didn't change any decisions that Bethesda took from
I'm not talking about
July up
acquisition
to.
of Sega. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Oh, sorry,
about
I'm
the
confused.
no, no, no. I'm not talking about Microsoft buying Sega. I know we mentioned that
Oh,
last
I
week.
thought you. I thought
No,
that's
no,
what you're
no, no,
saying. You're
no. I'm saying, do
referring.
you
You're
think
just saying
Microsoft
that
has
like they've paid them some money.
they've done a deal to be exclusive on next gen
Yeah,
for
maybe,
a little bit?
maybe. I mean, like I said to you, like a lot of these deals, and I've seen some of these deals where you agree to something and then say we don't want you to say anything or give an explanation. Like that's a
Hmm.
part of the exclusive. And part of it is just like from a corporate perspective, you're putting it out there to people to go, oh, will PlayStation 5 get everything? What's going on here? One thing I do want to mention as well with this that I thought was, it's going to be, it's always bumpy, these transitions. And I feel like the fact that you can use your old games and plug it into the new system, it's always going to cause more issues. Is that if you start playing this game on PS4 and then you get a PlayStation 5, you can't transfer your save data.
Yeah, I heard
So
about
like
that.
that's bad, man. like
I also
I really.
will also, sorry, clarify that if you buy it on Xbox One and PS4, you will receive the free next gen upgrade, but
Yes.
obviously the PS5 one won't be available till March.
Yeah. And also that, like I know we've already touched on it before, but I will keep mentioning it. That is becoming an interesting thing because people are catching on pretty quickly to wait a second. If I buy the PS4 version, I get the PS5 version as well for free, and it's often cheaper to buy the PS4 version. And it kind of net results exactly the same, really. Like if you have the PS5 version, you have to put the disc into your system. With the PS4 version, you still have to put the disc into the PS5. So I do wonder what's going to happen with the sales and just like people's consumer behavior.
Yeah, just this particular example because it's always been a PlayStation series. It's just really interesting to me because it does give, it. I will say Yakuza has been gaining a lot more popularity in, let's say, the last 5 years since the Kiwami. So if you didn't know, the Kiwami games are the remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2.
Mm.
And then there's Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, and then 6 is the most recent game in the series. That's, I guess, like in the timeline, basically. So this game, I don't know if it's going to technically be a seventh game. It's very different as well. I don't know if you've seen any footage from this game, but this game is
Yeah.
bonkers. It is absolutely insane, and like the game's turn based. Whereas every other Yakuza game, I don't know about the zombie one they made, but has been like like action beat 'em up style combat. But because the protagonist loves Dragon Quest so much, he sees all his battles in turn based. It's such a
That's so
bizarre
cool.
concept.
Yeah, I
But
just saw a bit of it where it talks about Dragon Kart, like a ripoff of Mario Kart.
yeah, oh yeah, and there's a whole kart racing. Like they've always been crazy, but and the thing for me is that, so as I said, I've been playing through them, but only a Kiwami 2, and Yakuza 0 available. So I'll only probably play Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2 on Xbox, and then if they decide to remake 3 and 4, I don't know if that's been announced or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me if they do. Then I'll probably start resume from there. But it is just Yakuza, like Microsoft now has a launch exclusive which is a pretty strong one. It's not going to appeal to
Mm.
everyone, but they do have one, which is what you couldn't say before this news, really. They had. There's definitely
Yeah, it's
games.
true,
That
isn't it?
if you
Yeah.
buy a Series X, there's going to be games for you to play. Assassin's Creed, there's a whole bunch of games. But in terms of why you'd buy a Series X over PS5, even if you could get one now, which you probably can't get any of them, but is now there's a reason to get a Series X over a PS5 if you love Yakuza, basically, and you can't wait. So
Mm.
when
Yeah,
you
for
play it
me,
on your
like this whole,
PS4, who knows?
yeah, I mean, this whole series to me has been like a series that I'd heard of, but really not heard much about, to really growing in popularity, like quite quickly. Like it's been pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I've listened to a lot of people talk about Yakuza for a long time before I ever got my hands on it, so I understand a lot more than I would have normally. I should say. I don't understand a
Yeah.
lot about Yakuza. I understand like in terms of what you should play and things like that, just because I've heard other people talking about it. But for someone brand new, like I could see, especially on Xbox, you're like, okay, Yakuza 0. Oh, I'll start with there, and they'd probably still be okay, but that's a prequel, and most prequels are generally done with being very fan servicey to what you know is going to happen. If you think
Mm.
about it, it's been created after. So it's really interesting, but just I feel sorry for PS5 players that were really looking forward to this game. Maybe if you can't wait, maybe get on PC or PS4. So.
Well, the fact that your save data doesn't transfer, it's sort of, I don't know, like, and we're probably a little bit different, but if I was a PlayStation exclusive player, I'd just probably hold off and wait until it gets released on the PS5. I have heard a lot of people talk about this, like, with Cyberpunk 2077, like a bunch of people are just like, I'm just going to wait until they're not redone, but, adapted for PS5 and Xbox Series X, and then play it then, which probably makes a lot of sense if you're happy to miss the initial buzz. And moving on to another famous Japanese franchise, Pokemon. So we had some Pokemon news this week as well. So the second part of the DLC and the date that it's coming out, which is later this month. So this is the Crown Tundra. Probably the biggest call out here is, and this has been a massive controversy around this Pokemon game, around not having the full Pokedex, that they're bringing back every single legendary into Crown Tundra. And the one thing that I called, that I was just expecting to happen, and I know that a lot of commentators were thinking it wasn't, but that they are grouping together the base Pokemon game and the DLC into a single cart for Christmas. And it's very kind of unoriginal in terms of how they're branding it. It's just literally sword or shield, and then it sort of just has this huge thing at the front that says includes the expansion pass. Which I'm surprised they didn't just go down that route of calling it like Ultra Sword or Ultra Shield. But yeah, like you could see this coming from a mile away. There's a lot of people who still can't get or don't want to bother about buying the DLC, so they just want the full version for their kids for Christmas.
Look, if they change the name of it, you'd see Pokemon. I'm sorry, I'm going to put the Pokemon community down on blast here, just like you put me on blast. They some of the that community is so fickle about things that just seem like they just don't matter to anyone else. And I think if they named it Ultra, you'd have a whole bunch of people just being like, this isn't a true Ultra version. We were used to getting all these different upgrades. Like, I think it makes sense for them just to be straightforward and say it's Sword and Shield plus these expansions. And when I say fickle, it's more about the Pokedex thing is 100%. I think I understand that one. But there's just so many other things. I think what was that Pokemon MOBA game that got announced, and then suddenly it was the worst thing in the world. It was like the worst thing in the world that they announced this separate game. So I think they did the right thing to just name it like that, honestly. But I don't really have much. I don't really have a big part to play in this because I haven't played a Pokemon game since Pokemon Red on the Game Boy. So.
Well, look,
Not
like
counting like Pokemon Stadium or something on 64. I played some random other stuff, but not a mainline.
I have to say, like I don't want to lean into the Pokemon community, but I kind of do actually get the. Look, this is the thing. Like, and I'm definitely a capitalist. Pokemon, they basically sell the same amount of units every time for an insanely, relatively small amount of work. It's like the biggest cash cow the world has ever seen. Like the Pokemon franchise, like from a value perspective, is the number one franchise ever. Like it's more than Star Wars, more than Mickey Mouse, more than Toy Story, more than all these other franchises. It's number one, Pokemon. Like in terms of the toys it sells, mobile, the games themselves. So they kind of gotten zero incentive because they're still just banking money. Zero incentive to do what I want them to do. Like I would love if one of these mainline games, they actually put in real effort into it. And I'm not saying like a Breath of the Wild Pokemon, but like something where you can legitimately say they've put in a lot of effort into this game and it's different. I think at that stage I'd go, you know what, I might dive back into it. But the thing is, it's like a slow evolution of the game that we played back on the Game Boy. And it's not really that much different, like really. And the other thing that I think is funny with this is, surprisingly for Nintendo, that they're going to release the DLC earlier than the cart version, which has everything in it, but it's only like a week or two earlier, and they've obviously already finished it because to make those carts, they have to like be done at least, I think 6 weeks, I think is the absolute minimum. So that means they're just sitting on the DLC now. It's like fully finished and they're just waiting to get it close to the date of when the carts come out. But, not close enough so that the Pokemon community is not going to totally crack the shits.
I mean, it's not that long. It's less than a month, so...
Yeah, I know, but it's funny, though, because they could have released... Yeah, I know. It's just normally, if they have it, people have been waiting for it for quite a while now, the DLC, so, yeah. But, and then the other one is this whole Pokemon Home thing. It's the most confusing thing ever, and the way it works is just... It's just so bad. Like people who are so deep into Pokemon, it's so confusing how you have to set it all up. And they're making it a little bit easier so you can actually take your Pokemon from Pokemon Go, the mobile game, into Pokemon Home. But it's not easy to get it back out, and it's a total mess. And my wife is into Pokemon a lot, but she just can't be bothered with this Pokemon Home stuff because it's so confusing. And moving on to next story around the Xbox Hall of Fame. And I want you to take this away, Swinny, but I'm going to get really frustrated at you. This is going to be like the I'm getting frustrated at you episode.
Yeah.
So
and this one I'll say I think it's pretty clear why I not. Anyway.
Go on.
To celebrate the launch of the new next-gen Xbox consoles, Xbox has announced the Xbox Hall of Fame, which is a competition for basically gamer score success in specifically Xbox One games. So it's almost a celebration of the Xbox One as much as the next gen. So
is that right? Because I think technically they said it's in the Xbox One's lifespan. I don't think they actually said it's the Xbox One games. I'm pretty sure because I saw some debate about that.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
let me check it while you're going over it. Sorry,
Yeah, that's the way that I read it, is that it's only applicable to Xbox One titles. So basically, gamers can register to compete across 8 different categories. So we've got some categories that are based on getting most achievements in the lifetime of the Xbox One through till October 19th. Same with gamer score. There's also... all of these are based on region as well. So basically, they'll have a lot of people... not every region is, I'd say, applicable for this. I think it's US, Canada, Brazil, Mexico, France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Spain, Italy, Poland, and Sweden. So you have winners in each region, which is great. And there's also some specific categories relating to Game Pass. So, playing the most Xbox Game Pass titles in your region, which is stupid. I'll get to that in a second. And some specific things for Sea Thieves, Forza Horizon 4, and State of Decay 2. So, anything that brings more light to the amount of effort that the achievement community puts into playing their games. Is great. So I'm not going to have a go at the idea of this. But for a lot of this, unfortunately, a lot of these categories are already decided. And True Achievements, which is a site that is literally the site I visit every day about this, because we talked about I'm an achievement hunter or achievement whore, however you like to say it. They've already built custom leaderboards that track a lot of this stuff by region. So within like the 2 days, they already had all this stuff set up for everyone, and the battle's only between a couple of people in most regions at this point, because
who are on the edge.
Well, it's more like the people do this stuff without a competition, so they like they put the most time in. It's ridiculous, and to Xbox's credit, seems like they've given a lot of honorary inductions to a lot of these big name players like Smirnov, Stallion83, that already have ridiculous game scores anyway. That's obviously also a PR thing, because those players actually have decent followers and things like that as well. Almost, never thought of this, but they're almost like an achievement influencer. It's kind of funny. Well, technically, it's technically probably the case. And I will say there are also random prize draws. So the reason why, so when you told me about this, Integot, the reason why I said, what's the point for me, is because I already know that the way that I play games for achievements is completely the opposite of what this competition is tracking and rewarding. So I play RPGs, which are generally, with the exception of some games, that's a long tail process. I enjoy playing games and working on RPGs and getting RPGs there, but like a lot of these RPGs take well over 100 hours to complete sometimes in excess of 300 hours. Sometimes, like maybe on average, they're 50 hours. So suddenly when you start saying earn the most gamer score, earn the most achievements, well, that's ridiculous for someone playing these long games, because you'd have to literally just play 24/7. And the thing as well is that, and I think we mentioned it at some point in previous episodes, there's a whole bunch of just trashy games out there that you can complete within an hour and get 1,000 gamer score. And that has just become so much more prominent since ID at Xbox became a thing, so these indie publishers could self-publish. And so now you've, like, the achievement community in True Achievements is already all over this by just basically saying, well, that's all I think it's Ratalaika is the publisher that makes all those easy ones. It's like, well, suddenly they're going to get a huge amount of sales, so people are just going to buy all them, and they're just going to just stack them all up. So it doesn't make sense for me to really be part of this, because, and honestly, sorry, the one thing I was going to say about the Game Pass ruler, played the most Game Pass titles, like, what does that involve? Just downloading each title and just launching it? Like,
I think
people are just going to max out. Like, you're going to have people the same amount, because everyone's just going to download the same amount of games. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that one's the weirdest one. And now, look, I want to circle back on why you have to enter this. You don't have a choice. But I will go on to that one, because that one was the weirdest to me. And I've read through the terms and conditions while you was talking. It's just the Xbox One. So it's like engaging in gameplay on Xbox Live on the Xbox One. Yeah, so
that's what I thought, yeah.
So Xbox 360 would count. Like the games, it's just playing them on the Xbox One. And in the lifetime of the Xbox One.
No, I'm not. Does it specifically say backwards compatible titles does it count?
It doesn't like it's vague on that. It's just talking about gamer score and achievements in the lifetime of the Xbox One.
Because the easiest way to track this from them would probably just be to say, well, is the game native on an Xbox One? Yes, it counts.
Look, I haven't
because with the 360 backwards compatibility, it launches like a fake 360 interface in the whole thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't count them.
I don't think that they could exclude it, because there's nothing in here that specifically says it has to be an Xbox One game. It's just talking about the lifespan and then playing it on Xbox One. And if anything, if I lost because of this, I would challenge it, because it doesn't actually specifically prohibit it. It just talks about gamer score and achievements, both of which you can get from Xbox or OG Xbox 360 games as well. So I would definitely count that as the scope
Okay,
based on reading
so
the T's and C's.
so I'm just reading. So True Achievements has a very close relationship with Microsoft. I'm
Yeah.
just reading. So it seems like that is the case. So achievements only count if they're earned on Xbox One. So in their leaderboards, they've only included Xbox One games and the backwards compatible 360.
Yeah, that's how I read the T's and C's. So yeah, that the one that I thought was the strangest was the most Xbox Game Pass titles played. Because surely this is going to be a bunch of people that are all equal on this one, and they'll just have to randomly pick one person.
Well, yes and no. I said that before, but I've had another thought about that. It's because it's essentially they say from November 2013. Like Game
Yeah.
Pass, I don't know if I don't think it goes back that far, but maybe it did.
No, it doesn't.
Maybe time's weird these days. That's all I know. But there's a
It
lot of
doesn't go
people
back to
that
2013, does it? Surely not.
I mean, it's been around for a while, but maybe not that. That does surprise me if it is.
No, 2017 it launched.
2017. Okay, so you've got a lot of people like nobody would have expected that to be a thing back then. So I guess if people played a whole bunch of games prior to this announcement from from Game Pass, and a lot of those things have left, then yeah. So that's definitely not going to be the case because you could have downloaded every single Game Pass game when it first came out, and a lot of those games aren't in Game Pass anymore. You know?
No, but that's what I'm saying. There would definitely be a bunch of people that have played. So, okay, there are a lot of odd people out there. We both agree, right? Yeah. I remember when I had PlayStation Plus, every single time a game came out, I would download it and launch it and play it a little bit. Like every single game, no matter how good or bad it was. So, you know, and I'm not even that crazy of a gamer. Like there's definitely people out there who would have like downloaded, launched every single Game Pass game that's been released in their region.
Maybe.
It wouldn't be like one person. It wouldn't be one person. It'd be, I don't know what the number is, but it feels gut feel. It'd be dozens of people that have launched every single game.
So the reason why this is just like kind of stupid as well is because with these kind of tracking the amount of games you've played have been leaderboards on True Achievements for like since the site launched.
Yeah.
And there's no skill involved in that. Like now the difference in Game Pass is you don't have to purchase the games. Whereas before, like people compete on those leaderboards. How many Xbox games have I played? Which means they're either using whatever GameFly rental services that they used to have all the time to try to, get as many games as possible, or they're just purchasing as many games as possible, which is ridiculous. So that one is a bit stupid. It does, I will say, it does get, it's cheeky by Microsoft because it does get people actually downloading games and potentially playing them. And Microsoft can then say, oh, we've had X amount of downloads because of this, So it's sneaky to put that in.
And we should say, like, these prizes are pretty crazy. Like, how many categories are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So even in Australia, there's 8 categories, and there's one big prize awarded for each category, which is the Xbox Hall of Fame prize pack. That's a Series X, this trophy, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for 12 months, and their branded hoodie for 8. Like that's cool, man. I don't know, that's pretty sick.
But that's so. Which category is that?
Well, each category you get that prize.
Oh, okay, each category. All right.
Yeah.
So
and
the
then
thing
you have
is,
all these subsidiary prizes for the next 10, I think, or 20 people.
Yeah.
So and the prize draw.
So the thing is, as I mentioned, like I've been part of the gym community for a long time. Yeah. People already have this stuff worked out. So even the ones that say in the most achievements game score within a 19-day period, people already have that stuff worked out. They know because competitions like this happen every year on True Achievements and other sites. So I already know that being part of this is just a waste of my time because I'm not going to sit there, I'm not going to take days off work, sit there and play these ridiculous games that are just designed for this kind of thing. So that's why I'm not interested in being part of this. I love being part of other style competitions that happen around this stuff, but they're just for fun. As soon as you suddenly start adding these prizes to it, then nah, not interested.
Before I do my spiel to try to get you to sign up to this, I just because I was reading through the T's and C's. there's one funny part of the T's and C's where it talks about Canadian prize draw winners. So this is what, there's like a lucky chance draw part of it for, I think, 20 people. And by the way, the second prizes on the lucky chance draw, it's so shit. It's like 1 month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. It's like, dude, come on. Is that the Canadian prize draw winners, they have to correctly answer a mathematical skill testing question, which is going to be conducted at a mutually agreeable time before being declared the winner.
You know why that is, don't you?
There's some kind of regulatory thing, right?
Yeah. So basically, in Australia, has similar stuff where you got game of chance or game of skill. So they have very different regulations, and that's all it is. It's just it could literally be probably 2 + 2, and it probably meets. Or maybe they've got minimum requirements around that, but that's all that is. Yeah.
I think it's awesome. It's only like
that's super weird.
Yeah, that's really funny, that one. But look, like it's only $100,000 worth of Xboxes that they're, and like from a nominal value, like store value. I mean, I think they're getting their bang for their buck out of this competition, because I heard about it and I was like, oh, this is exciting.
The thing I don't like about this, right?
Yeah.
Is I'm all for, as I said, celebrating, but the way Xbox's handled achievements in this entire generation has been so lackluster that this is the only time that I can think of that they've actually done anything for the people that care about it and that community, essentially. And the thing is, no one cares because it's achievements. Who cares? But there's a lot of people where this is a huge hobby for them, and this is the only time Xbox has really done anything of note, honestly, in this whole generation. So,
yeah, no, it's fair. And now I'll just quickly try to convince you. And I know you never listen to anyone, so I'm wasting my breath, but I'll have a crack. I'm not saying enter this competition because you will win any of the main categories. I'm saying on the 1 in, 20,000 chance that you are one of the prize draw winners, I will then be able to introduce you on the podcast for the next 500 episodes as the Hall of Fame, the Xbox Hall of Famer, and they give you a right royal wrestling intro. So just on that off chance that you snag one of the prizes in the lucky chance draw, that is worth it for just signing up. What do you lose from signing up? Sign up now.
I've been the top RPG player in Oceania for like 10 years at this point. I'm content with that. I don't need a stupid title.
No, come on. This is what I love about you and frustrates the hell out of me. That it's this. You just have to sign up. You just have to sign up. You're already probably logged in. If you click the site, you can just go register. I'm sure you don't have to do anything other than that.
When's the cutoff for registration, by the way? Do you know?
I don't know. Soon. Just do it.
All right. I'll give you another chance next week to convince me because you failed this week.
What am I supposed to say?
I don't know, come with a PowerPoint presentation or something.
Okay, I'll come with something special next week. And then if you don't do it, I'm going to be pissed. Okay?
You got another chance.
All right. We'll see next week. Was there anything else you wanted to mention about the Hall of Fame?
Nah, I'm all good.
All right.
I'll just say, go check it out if you want to have a bit of fun. Just be aware that some of those categories are already kind of decided at this point. So,
yeah. And look, when you're creating something like this, it's kind of hard because you want to reward people that have done work in these categories without actually, tipping them off in a way. But then at the same time, you want people to engage with it. I kind of wish that they broke it down a little bit like True Achievements, where it's like, are you the number one RPG player in the country? All that kind of stuff. Like, that would have been fun. I think that would have been really cool. And then you probably would have actually put your hand in the ring then.
Well, I would have been able to win that one. So, yes, I would have.
But, yeah, I think that would have been cool because that's often how people play it anyway. Or, like, even funny ones like, who spent the most amount of time in Fortnite or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that, all that kind of stuff would have been cool. But, anyway. I still think it's a really cool promotion. It's really, really cool. And next week, I'll come back with something. And if you don't sign up, then I'll get annoyed.
I look forward to it.
Beautiful. And now to my favorite segment, the bargain bin. So no big sort of all platform announcements this week, but we'll always start with Epic because they deliver the goods. So this week, I've actually said this to myself and it was fine, but now when I read it out, I stumble. Pikuniku is free this week. Abzu is free next week, and Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. I think Abzu is I've already got that before on Epic, so I must have been out on Epic before. But that's you're probably going to pick up that one, right, for free next week?
Well, yeah, I already have it, but I might pick it up on PC anyway. That's by the same people who made. What's that new PlayStation game that they showed where you're flying around with a bow, shooting things?
Oh yeah, I can't recall. Don't like the title. I remember that as well. It looked interesting, that game. It's like Archer something, or
it is. Let me
maybe have a look at it, and I'll go into the Switch stuff.
It is called The Pathless.
Pathless, yeah, I didn't like that title.
So that's where you got the eagle and stuff like that. So that's by the same people who made Abzu, and Abzu also looks amazing.
Okay, yeah, no, Abzu looks really cool. For Switch, probably the only call out that I have is Dragon Quest XI-S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. Is 43% off, so that's 45 Australian dollars. That is coming out to other platforms. I don't think we mentioned it, but yes, it is coming out to PS5. It hasn't been on PS5 before. PS4. And I believe it's coming to next gen as well. So,
you're talking Definitive Edition, hasn't been on PS4.
Yes, the Definitive Edition. Yeah. Sorry, I should start again. Dragon Quest XI obviously came out on PS4 first, but then the Definitive Editions came out on the other consoles, and now they're going back to PS5 as the Definitive Edition.
It's also launching on Xbox Game Pass, I think, in December.
Yes.
Yes.
Bizarrely enough, and I'm always thinking about getting Game Pass. That was the game that I was like, oh man, maybe I should get Game Pass because that's coming onto it. But I won't be able to play it in the time that Game Pass requires me to play it. On PlayStation, so we've got the announcements from the PlayStation blog on the next PlayStation Plus games. So this is from the 6th of October to the 2nd of November. Need for Speed Payback, but the big one is Vampire.
Yes,
you're excited about this based on the notes?
Play this game. I've beaten the game like 4 times at this point.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it is. Vampire is awesome. It's, by Don't Nod. It is just fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm glad you said that. And, you still have time to get the Street Fighter V and PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. What have you written in the notes? You've written PUBG effectively.
I didn't write those notes.
Oh, no, you didn't write this. I copied this. This is how they wrote it. That's so weird. That's so bizarre. Anyway.
That's right. Don't call me out on that.
Unknown. Yeah. I'll take that back. I retract that statement. I copied this because I don't type things. I copy and paste it. That's weird. I got to bring that up. That's really funny. So yeah, you still have a chance to get PUBG and Street Fighter V if you jump on it right now as the episode's getting published. Xbox, over to you.
All right, there's quite a bit.
There's a few to get through.
normally, like the games that got on Game Pass tend to get announced on like subsequent weeks. Now that's like everything's in the same week, so it's crossed over. So for October's games with gold, we've got Slay Away Camp, which is available October 1st to October 31st, which was an Xbox One title. Got Made of Skur, which I know nothing about. That is available from October 16th to November the 15th on Xbox One as well. Then we've got an OG Xbox game that is only available for 15 days, which is weird to me. Like, why do that to the OG Xbox One? Yeah, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is available from October the 1st to October 15th. Now, these are games of gold, so obviously pick it up, you got it.
But why 15 days?
Yeah, it's weird. And Costume Quest is also about 15 days, from October 15th to October 31st. Now, Costume Quest, I love that game. I've beaten it twice. Really great, kind of chilled, turn-based battler from Double Fine, and has really, really great sense of humor to it. So, and it's probably a really cool game to play for kids as well. So new additions to Game Pass. So we've got Drake Hollow is on PC Game Pass, is available now. Brutal Legend, another Double Fine game, is available now on Xbox Game Pass, but that is a backwards compatible title. Then on Xbox and PC, we've got Forza Motorsport 4 coming on October the 7th. I'm actually surprised that wasn't already in Game Pass, honestly. And
I
a
mean,
game that I don't...
7, right? Not 4.
Sorry, 4. Did I say 4? 7. 7. Motorsport 7. Why did I say 4? That came out of nowhere.
I don't know.
There's
I was thinking of Forza Horizon 3 when you said that, and then it was like, what?
no 4 anywhere near that, so I have no idea why I said 4. Also a title called Ikenfell for Xbox and PC Game Pass is coming October the 8th, which I'm actually interested in because it's a turn-based battler. It's good. Pixel graphics, looks pretty cool. And unfortunately, leaving Game Pass on October the 15th, we've got 5 titles. So we've got Metro 2033 Redux, leaving Xbox and PC. Minute, which is a cool little puzzler, leaving Xbox and PC. Felix the Reaper, leaving Xbox and PC as well. And then 2 PC Game Pass titles leaving, which is State of Mind and Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. So they all leave on October 15th. So if you want to wrap them up or give them a shot, make sure you do it within the next week and a bit.
Nice.
And just one last note, we finally had confirmation on when EA Plus is joining together with Game Pass. And it's actually coming launch day for the Series X and Series S. So anyone that's already has Game Pass for console specifically, I should say, will have access to a lot of the EA Plus titles at that time. That will come to PC Game Pass sometime in December, apparently.
Yeah, with the EA Pass, like EA Plus, I got confused because I thought it has like the FIFA games and stuff like that in it, but I think it's only like a trial of those games for like 10 hours or something like that.
So what it is there's access. I think you might be able to get access to the Vault, which has a select amount of titles in there, and then a lot of the other stuff is trials because there's different levels. I don't know enough about it because I don't have EA Play or EA Plus or whatever the hell they're calling it. But there were different levels within that service as well. So this, I think, is the lower level is joining Game Pass. But it's still going to give you access to a whole bunch of games.
Yeah, because I just thought it was a bit dodgy because, like, sort of, they put, like, you know, Madden, NBA, FIFA up front whenever they're talking about EA Play. And then, like, I looked into it and I saw this thing where it goes, oh, you know, play for 10 hours. I was like, what? Like, isn't it the game? Like, it's so it's really confusing the way that EA does it with EA Play.
Yeah. I'll see what happens when it adds in, if they also get like put into their own little section, or if they're just in the main game list that you get with Games of Gold. So that'll be interesting to see. Sorry,
Game Pass. Just one last thing. Are you getting Doom Eternal anytime soon?
As in downloading from Game Pass?
Yeah, because it's live, right?
No, I want to play through the first reboot before I get
Doom 2016.
Yeah.
It's not that long. And you can get it goes on sale on PC quite a lot. So yeah, if I see it, I'll give you the heads up.
Cool. Oh no, cool. I own it. I just need to play it. I just need to play it.
It's just on the backlog. It's just on the backlog. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's get into our special features. And the first one, you don't actually know what it is.
No, I just saw this and it says that you've got a problem.
So yes, I do have a problem. So if you can open the link, and you know, for anyone playing along at home, so if you go into gamesman.com.au and just search for Amiibo cards box and have a search for it. So we did speak about the Amiibo cards. So they were confirmed for Australia, these Animal Crossing Amiibo cards. And when they came out at the time, they came out in 4 series. Like, they were the main series, and then they had a 5th series, which was very limited and very like small amount of cards. But really, when people talk about these Amiibo cards, it's really the first 4 series where they had 100 cards in each series. So have you got the page open?
Yes, I have it open.
Okay, so so, you know, my wife, I had a chat to her. I'm like, you know, what do you want for Christmas? And, you know, she's like, oh, this and that. I'm like, you know, this is available. I don't know how much you'd want this or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, I definitely want this. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the end of my world.
Okay,
so do you know what I've done?
Okay, just say, do you want me to say it's a 42 pack of Animal Crossing Amiibo cards for $207?
Yeah. Yeah,
And this is only Series 1?
correct.
Okay, continue.
And what do you think I ordered?
Don't tell me you ordered like 10 of them or something.
No. So I've got in so deep here. I don't know if I can get back to reality. So I spoke to a bunch of people in the Amiibo community.
The Amiibo community. Look, I'm part of a niche community, but that still makes me laugh. Sorry, Amiibo community. I'm sure you're
laughing,
lovely.
so
No,
laughing,
it's just
so it's fair enough.
everything has a community. I just never thought of those two words together, so I feel horrible now.
And I was like, I'm asking them, like, okay, my wife is 10 times more OCD than I am, like to the point where she doesn't have all of it. She'd wanted to just throw it all in the bin. Like, it's crazy. So I went and asked a bunch of them, and they're like, basically the only way to really kind of have a good chance at getting all of the cards efficiently, like if it's sort of like, don't worry about money, like, and you just want the cards, right? They're like, the best option is to actually buy the box. And I'm like, what do you mean the box? And they're like, they release these boxes to retail. They don't usually sell it to people, right? But the boxes themselves generally will have every single card in them, generally, but there's no guarantee. All right. So I'm like, okay. And then this box came out on the games, and I'm like, I must admit, I've never felt so like, what am I doing? As to when I added a box in each series of the Amiibo. And it's like,
God.
Embarrassingly, it's like $800 and something, right? And I'm looking at it going, so a PlayStation 5 is cheaper on the Xbox Series X than buying a bunch of Amiibo plastic cards.
God, how many years of Game Pass could you get for that, and you won't even commit to 1 month at this point?
Well, it just shows how much I love my wife, because this is her Christmas present. So yes, we're gonna go get 4 boxes.
So wait, does that mean that on Christmas Day she's going to sit there having to open all these packs of me? Because she's probably going to love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure she'll love it. But is that going to happen on Christmas Day?
Okay, this is a part of the other challenge, right? Because like, I am a big believer in, like, you want to open things on Christmas, but I've also had situations where it's like, oh, I just want to play this game early or whatever. So it's like, get it a little bit earlier.
On that note, right, it's completely off topic, but the whole, when you're a kid and you've got a present but you can't open it. I remember convincing my parents to let me read the manual of Ocarina of Time like 10 days before Christmas, just so I could read the manual. It was just a lovely memory. And I think you'd already started playing at that point, or some of my mates had. Definitely. And I'm like, I can't go to any of my friends' houses either because they're playing this game. Anyway.
I have such a vivid memory of that game, like getting that game. I don't know, like, if I had money for it or how it worked, but I have this vivid memory. And, I wasn't the most athletic specimen back then or now. But I remember getting the game, and I was walking home for some reason near the, the old bowling alley near my house. And at that point I started running home for some reason, because I was just like so excited to play this game. that is like so vivid in my head, like remembering about that game. And yeah, like just around Christmas, probably the number one thing for me was waiting for Super Mario 3. And I was like so excited to play that game. I got that for Christmas and I was so pumped. But yeah, like getting to the question, because she does want to collect all of them, and I've actually got also additional cards that I've bought through EB Games. What I said to her is like, hey, what we need to do, if you want to collect all of them, I think the optimal strategy is to open them all up, understand, where your duplicates, all that kind of stuff is, and then try to trade and buy and sell, like with the various people who are going to be doing the same thing. Well, dude, like if she wants to collect them all, like that's the only way it's gonna work.
I'm not saying that's not the case. The thought of that just makes me go, oh, I never would want to ever have anything to do with that.
And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of Amiibo. It's not just my collection, by the way. It's also my wife's collection of Amiibo. She kind of got us into this world, right? But like I would never go down the path of getting cards and stuff like that, like Pokemon cards or whatever it is, because it's it's too random. It's too crazy. It's like gambling, essentially. But I guess, gambling and you have something at the end of it. So it probably isn't like gambling in that way. But yeah, I was actually thinking maybe we'll record a unboxing for the clip show or the channel, and we'll put it up online.
God.
But yeah, so we're gonna have 4 boxes. I think you know what I guarantee is gonna happen. One of the series.
Your topic title.
What was that?
You have a problem is probably you and your wife have a problem at this point.
Well, she has a problem, but yeah, like I guarantee one of the boxes it will be like all doubles or something like that. Something horrible. This is gonna be like, oh my god, this is like the most. I did say to her, if we do this, there is a chance you won't get all of them, and you have to accept that because there's no way I'm gonna spend like an extra like $200 on one specific card. Like that's just way too crazy, even for my standards.
That is, yeah. Okay, enough. My brain is
tap out. All right, and let's get into our final segment of the show. So prior to the announcement this week, we actually had planned this week, and I was starting to get everything prepped to do a really fun Smash draft where we're trying to predict the final 5 characters of Smash, the second DLC pack. Given that they had the announcement this week, I think we'll have to shelve that idea for a little while. But what I did think would be fun would be, given that it is a reveal this week, and there's been, at least 40 reveals that I've sort of seen and looked through, if we actually look at all the reveals that have happened and then come up with our own top 10s and then try to merge those top 10s together. Does that sound like a fun thing to do, Swinny?
It sounds like a fun thing, but like everything you get your hands on, it suddenly went from let's make a list to let's do something crazy with visuals and let's like stack them all up on the side. And I mean, it makes much more engaging content. But man, you like, how do you get time to do this stuff?
So speaking of visuals, if you do watch it, and we'll put the link of like what our final top 10 is in the show notes. But what if you're watching it on YouTube on the videos, you can actually see that we've got a graphic for all of the reveals. So I've gone through and actually I've come up with there's 40 different reveals that have happened, and probably the first thing that we should talk about is just, I guess, the debate about like what counts as a reveal and what doesn't. Because again, like we haven't done this in a conceited way. We've actually gone and said, like do it independently and then come together. So like just quickly, like I would count anything where it's like revealing a character like that hasn't been in the game as counting as a reveal. So that could also include like the actual sort of, announcement of the game itself.
Yeah, it's tricky because some of this stuff, like everyone is here, essentially when they officially, I guess the first official trailer where they properly showed what the next game was and they titled it and everything. That one is almost like, it's hard to beat that one in some ways, not from a personal standpoint, but just the idea of and the hype around when they did that. It's almost like feels that one's unfair, but yeah.
But I think that has to count. And I think that's, I think anything that is like, essentially to me, that's like returning characters. Because I think returning characters should count as a reveal as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a trailer, they have a trailer. But the other thing I wanted to ask was, so we had the Joker reveal at the Game Awards. Yeah. Are we just literally basing it off if we think the trailer is cool and we like the trailer, or is it, hey, that was hype at the time and the way they introed it and the fact that Reggie was afterwards talking about it? Is it just the whole experience of what that trailer was when it came out,
Yeah, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I've thought about it, and number one, it can't just be the character, right? So a good example of that is, I guess, if you go Banjo Kazooie, because that's a character that people have been wanting for such a long period of time. I think if we're just judging it off the characters, you almost don't even need to worry about the reveal. I think it's
not the character. Not the character. Like, I know that's a separate thing.
No. I was just setting that up. I'm just saying, I think it's the expectation they try to set, how much surprise you have, what they think it is going to be, and then what they deliver, and then the actual kind of just the artistry of the trailer itself. Like, what does it do? How does it take you on that journey? Does it surprise you? I think it's all of those components. I don't think it's as set as just like, the hype of the time. I think it's also just how it plays into that and how it makes you feel. So like, just quickly going on to the Everyone Is Here, like at the time, I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be a smaller roster and all this other kind of stuff. So that was genuinely surprising for a lot of people, and it didn't leak beforehand. So that's kind of my criteria of how it all kind of puts together.
It's also unfair for some of these trailers, although they're none that I would have in my top 10. There's a whole bunch of the ones from the Wii U version that all these characters got leaked beforehand, which meant the hype around the trailer was so low because it's like, oh, this is the Ryu trailer. Oh, this is the Duck Hunt trailer. This is the Bowser Jr. trailer. This is the Shulk trailer. All those characters got leaked beforehand. Whereas while, I've only started playing Xenoblade for the first time recently, that if that Shulk trailer hit and no one knew that Shulk was in the game would have been much, much bigger. But it was almost just like, well, part of the course, we just need to go through the motions now. They've already done these trailers, and there's some people may have not heard of the leaks, but so that's a shame. But the thing is, thankfully, it doesn't align.
I'm going to discount that though. So I'm going to pretend like people didn't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard to separate that though for me, because for me, the trailers, I was. When all these trailers came out, I saw them day and date, and it's hard to remember that. But the thing is, thankfully, none of those that I mentioned are actually in my top 10 anyway. So that worked out well.
Okay. Well, yeah, and we'll probably have a different view because I wasn't following it at the time. So, and then what we'll do is I'll drag in from 10 to 1, and if I say, hey, I've got this as 10. And you have it on your list, then you come in after me saying, hey, well, actually, this is my number 3 or whatever,
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right. Do you want to open the batting or do you want me to start?
I'll start with my number 10 then, which is
the
Lucina Robin trailer. Okay, so Robin brings the thunder.
Ah, yes.
And the reason why... It's not so much because I was hyped about the characters. I'd never played Awakening. Is the trailer itself is just so well animated. The fight between Lucina and Captain Falcon is just really epic. And then they throw in the shade at Crom at the end by basically saying, "Oh, it's not my time yet," and things like that. So I actually really like that trailer.
Yeah, I like that trailer as well. I'm just trying to see where I ranked it because actually, sadly enough, I ended up ranking every single trailer.
Oh god
because I just started going through it and I'm like, well, I might as well just rank everything. So I've got a rank of all 40 trailers.
Oh my god,
it's not as high as I thought it would have been actually, but yeah, I did like that one. That was a good one. All right, I'll go with my number 10. My number 10 is a recent one. Steve. Oh shit, wait, I'm gonna drag this in. Wait, where am I going? So yeah, like the Steve one, I think it's that combination of, you kind of felt like it was inevitable, but just the trailer itself, when I was watching it, secretly I'm always hoping that Doomslayer is going to get incorporated in the game, and I know it won't, but it just played out really in a fun way. The announcement and the impact that it had, and just seeing it, like I've got audio of me when I watched it. I was just like, oh, really? They've gone there? That's just like so awesome. And it was just such a hype moment. So that instantly went into my top 10. Next to you, number 9.
Yes, so I didn't have Steve in my top 10. I don't know where I put that. Me, a sane person, only ranked my top 10, not the top 40.
Not top 40.
No. So at number 9, I have the Mii Fighter trailer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know which one this is. It's right here.
Yes. And simply because the fight between Iwata and Reggie is absolutely epic. And also it was, I think, where they showed off the Amiibo integration properly for the first time as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So that fight between Reggie and Iwata is so good. And it's obviously, rest in peace to Iwata, and Reggie's moved on from a Nintendo. So it's kind of like, it's also a snapshot at a time when just Nintendo was firing on all cylinders. They had the fire the Star Fox thing where they're all Star Fox puppets and stuff. They were just putting out gold at that time, and that's, I think, a great example of it.
Well, that one is in my top 10. That is also in my top 10. And
yes.
It is my number 1 pick.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought, based on your reaction, that was going to be
it. So I love this trailer. This is probably one of the few ones that I've actually seen before. It's just peak Nintendo to me, and everything that's good about Nintendo. To have your CEO and then also, your head of US operations, which is just such an equally important role, and just to lean into the fun, to pull that through. And it's such a left field thing, having the Mii fighters in. It seems very logical now, but it's quite a funny thing to do. And, there's so much in this. You've got the Amiibo announcement, which is crazy for me, I guess. And, really fun stuff where they had Abraham Lincoln as a Mii fighter. It was Lincoln, sworn in or something like that. It's just pure Nintendo to me. And it just went, it was actually really, really hard to pick the top 3 in particular, but it had to be number 1 for me. I loved it so much. It was awesome. All right. I guess it goes back to me now. So I'll go to my number 9. So my number 9, see, this is I have to say, all the top 15, it got rotated around a little bit around the sort of, is this a 9? Is this 11? But I give it to Banjo Kazooie. And the reason why I've put this one in, and I actually wanted to put in the King K. Rool trailer, but I like this Banjo Kazooie one because it also had the self-reference back into the King K. Rool trailer with, how they tried to trick the audience at the start. Oh no, it's not King K. Rool. It was King Diddy. And then actually, no, it is King K. Rool. And then, yeah, you've done the exact same thing with the Duck Hunt duo with Banjo Kazooie. It was a super hype announcement. It's still probably the most hype announcement I've seen in terms of reaction with people, and one of the least played characters from how hype it was. So yeah, no, I've got that as my number 9.
Okay, so Banjo's not in my top 10.
Ah, there we go. This is good. This is going to be hard to merge this list together, by the
way. My number 8 is a Snake, which is part of, I guess, I'm talking specifically the Snake part, but it was part of the much bigger Brawl trailer.
Yeah.
And this thing melted minds at the time. Nobody ever would have expected Snake in Smash Bros. I mean, we were just still reeling over the fact that Sonic was announced. And then suddenly it's oh my God.
No. I don't think Sonic was announced.
I
think Snake was the first third-party character ever.
Okay, I seem to remember the other way, but I could be wrong. Because
no,
I remember...
I'm almost 100% sure that Snake was the first third-party character.
I think the trailer for Sonic came out afterwards, potentially. But anyway, well, just basically, this blew minds anyway, because...
Yeah.
It... Snake had always been, Metal Gear has had a connection with Nintendo since, the very beginning, but it still didn't feel like a very Nintendo franchise in any way. Especially the Metal Gear Solid series. I mean, we had Twin Snakes, but other than that and the 3DS port of Snake Eater, it was oh my God. But this was, this was mind blowing, and this is an example of where the trailer itself I like, but it's the impact that it had and the reaction, because nobody knew this was happening. It was so shocking that it was just if it wasn't for some of the trailers that are obviously higher in my list, I definitely would have put this higher. So
yeah, and I just checked on the Smash wiki, so Snake was the first third-party character announced.
Okay.
And I 100% agree with you, and so much so, but I agree with you a little bit more. I actually have this on my top 10 list, but I have it as number 2. You're destroying my top 10 list.
We're doing a reverse top 10 to each other.
I know we are, aren't we? I agree with all your points. For me, this kind of, in a weird way, took Smash into another realm above almost any other franchise that Nintendo has, to be honest. like I think this set a precedent where people started to think, oh, wait a second, like we can have one or two other third-party characters. And now what the game's become is almost just a celebration of gaming in general. And, it feels like most brands are more than comfortable with having their characters. I mean, look at Steve, right? Coming in from Minecraft, that people are comfortable with having their IP in the game. And I think it really did start with Snake. And certainly at the time, I think the view was, Sonic would be the one that comes in. So I think it was even better that Snake was in, and just the actual trailer itself was awesome. And there are callbacks to other trailers that I'll mention later, hopefully later, where, they actually had the box in the trailer, like earlier in the trailer. And then, the trailer comes, it was during E3 actually. And then it sort of fades out, the Smash announcement. And then it's like, the codec happens from Metal Gear Solid. And then he's like, we want you to come in to Smash. And then he sort of makes that reference. It's like he's doing reconnaissance and you see him in the box and everyone's fighting around him. It's just such an awesome trailer, but also such a mind-blowing announcement. So that's why it was number 2 for me. All right. Maybe we'll go to you because we're even out the numbers a bit. So what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Everyone Is Here, the Smash Ultimate's first trailer.
Nice.
Don't tell me that's your number 3.
It is. I'm going to drag it across.
God.
No joke. We have not planned this. We are very ethical at Big Week in Gaming, and we have not talked about this. I mean, this is too goofy to do on purpose.
Yeah. So Everyone Is Here is that. Talking about like hype moments, that was crazy. Yeah. Like I'm one of those kind of idiots that goes around watching reaction videos on YouTube of old Smash Brothers trailers. Yeah, and I will actually go back and rewatch ones that I love after a while.
Yeah.
And it's just things that bring a smile to your face because it's like you're re-experiencing the hype, seeing other people do it. And when this one dropped and you start to see like people put it together, wait a second, why are they talking about the number that they joined the series?
Yeah.
Why are they playing at 60 something? Oh, wait, what? Snake? What? And then suddenly the whole, like Everyone Is Here thing is just like, oh man. And even when that hits, as soon as people see young Link again, they're like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that because young Link, you'd think Toon Link replaced them. So it's like, oh my god, this is just awesome. And it's cut so well. So the only reason I have it lower on this list is because I just have more favorites, honestly, higher. So
yeah, I mean, like for me, any of these 3 could be. For me, the top 3 could have been number 1. Like it was all kind of a debate, and I agree. Like I love watching the reactions, and this one to me is probably out of all the 40 had the most hype. Just because it's kind of like, what are they going to do with Smash? What, are they going to bring back this character or that character? And, people are kind of getting used to the roster changing. You got your core Nintendo characters that are in there, but, hey, are the Smash 4 characters that I love coming back? Who knows? And then, when Snake comes on the screen, everyone's like, whoa, they're bringing Snake back? Sick. And then it's like, Everyone Is Here. It's just, and that didn't leak beforehand. It was just super hype. I remember watching at the time, and yeah, it's true. When you watch people like click, and there were some people who go, whoa, they're bringing back all the characters? Are they bringing back all the characters? And just how it just builds with time. It's just so sick. And it's cool that like Snake is, for me, a part of like some of the biggest announcements that Smash has actually had. Yeah. All right, I'll go to me next, or else you're going to take out my whole bloody top 10 list. So this one, I'd be surprised if you have this on your list, but I actually had Min Min as my number 8. So one thing, and I had to hold myself back from getting too crazy with this stuff, but especially with Ultimate, the way they did the trailers for the new characters, it's such a cool reference to the series itself, where in this Min Min trailer, you have it like you've got all the characters from ARMS, and yes, ARMS didn't sell well, obviously, but the actual characters from ARMS are really, really cool. Like they've done a lot of great work in terms of the actual characters in ARMS. And it was really cool for me, who I've played that game a little bit, just to see, all the characters trying to compete over the invitation, and just the way that they planned that all out. And then they actually landed on the 2 other characters that everyone thought were going to be in the game. So that was also really, really cool. Twintel and Ninjaro. And then, yeah, it was Min Min who actually won it. So, and then just also the character themselves was just like mind blowing. It's like, okay, I get that they were going to put an arms character in, but how are they going to do it with Smash? And, you know, you can use either hand as almost like the Smash attacks. It was really, really crazy. I really, really loved it.
Yeah, so
All right,
are
over
we
to you.
gonna? Yeah, Min Min's not in my top 10, so you were correct. I like the trailer though. That is actually a cool, like visually and everything. It's just not strong enough to me to hit my top 10.
Yeah.
So my next one, so I guess my number 6 is King K. Rule.
Ah, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I love this trailer so much is because it had been so long. Like, I know we're not meant to factor in the character, but I can't avoid it with this one. Like, King K. Rule had been a character every. Like, I was on the Game FAQs, Melee boards back in the day, and everyone's like, King K. Rule, King K. Rule. It was him and Ridley that's like, oh my god, you know, and of course, like, things like Wario and that it became, you know, in popularity, but King K. Rule was one of the ones that it just took so long, and that trailer was so cathartic because it had the intro and then just, you know, Donkey and Diddy Kong in the I guess their hut, and I do like the Banjo trailer, but this one just eked it out for me because it was just this character had been waiting so long, and it was so good to finally have K. Rool announced.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and like I said when I said about the Banjo one, that could have been King K. Rool easily as well. I just like that they referenced it in the Banjo one itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the King K. Rool one was up there for a while for me. All right, maybe I'll go next, and I'll get you to do two more. So actually, really similar theme to the Min Min trailer, and this trailer, you know, in a weird way, I could almost say it's like one of my favorite trailers. Like, I could see in another world, I'd put this as number one, but I actually had the Terry trailer like right up there. So the Terry trailer is my number 7. And kind of like similar to Min Min, it's really cool to see like all the different characters fighting out for the invitation. But I, you know, just loving nostalgia and retro stuff. It was so cool to sort of see it open up, and then it goes through time and sort of lands on the year, and you're like, okay, like, is it coming from this like Nintendo? I think what was it? It was like Super Nintendo it landed on or something like that. And then it moves over to the Neo Geo, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? Like, is this like gonna be like Terry? I don't know, it was really, really hype. I loved it. It was, you know, so cool to see it back in that art style as well. Like they'd reanimated a bunch of stuff and the songs. It was just really, really sick. It was just like as a trailer in and of itself, it's pretty much as perfect as you could have for a character that a lot of people don't even know. So the fact that the trailer got people so hyped is kind of testament to it.
Yeah, so I have Terry as my third.
There you
Number
go.
3. And just to kind of, you know, reiterate what you said, the way this trailer was made is just like this. The way they produced and the visual style is probably the top for me. But
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. Yeah, I
yeah,
had the same feeling.
and
Yeah.
you know they had Geese Howard diving off, which is, you know, an
Yeah.
homage to what happens in the games. You had Iori try to go for it. You had like Nakaruru, however you say a name from Samurai Showdown. It was awesome. I love this trailer so much.
Yeah, it was sick. It was super hype. And, you know, Sakurai is a massive fan of the series and a lot of those like old Neo Geo fighters in the arcades. So, you know, it wasn't shocking to see the amount of love that he had. All right, maybe you do the next one. You do your number 5. So we'll try to
Okay,
even it out.
my number 5 is Simon.
Oh, okay. I don't have this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this trailer, I love the way this is, I guess, filmed. It's obviously animated. With, you know, Luigi going through all the different
Yeah.
monsters from Castlevania, and then
That's so
Simon
cool.
coming in. Simon's another character people have just been wanting so long, but because it's third party, it's always like, well, it might not ever happen. And then you get the double whammy of Richter being in as well. And I love
Mm.
Richter because I'm a huge Symphony of the Night fan, and going through the Richter mode, and that's great. So that was like, everyone's like, oh, Simon, Simon. No one ever thought that someone would get an echo out of the gate, and that was really cool. And while I won't say that, you know, I've spent enough time playing the character, I thought that just the trailer and the music, like the Castlevania music, especially, you know, the anything basically from, you know, up until maybe the end of the DS Metroidvanias and stuff. Like, just oh my god, it's so good, so good.
Yeah. Now this was a very, very cool trailer. Like I really, really, really like this trailer, and it also had the first real indicator around. Hey, wait a second! All these characters are dying. Like, what's going on here? And that was kind of a link in between the whole spirit mode that got revealed a lot later. So I think that was when really people started to click. It's like, what's going on? Like, the ghosts or something weird's happening with this. Because a lot of the characters die in the ultimate reveals. So nice. All right, maybe I'll do my number 6. So my number 6, and I'm trying to find him/her, is Corrin. So I actually, for some reason, thought I wasn't going to have a lot of Wii U trailers, but some of the Wii U trailers are really, really sick and hype. And something about this trailer where, like Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates, there's a point, without giving any spoilers, but there's a critical point in the game where Corrin has to choose what fate or like what path he or she wants to go down. And, like just the way that the trailer leans into that, and, it's there and he or she is trying to decide. And then a next option comes in to join Smash. It's like, oh, I'm going to join Smash. And it just, I don't know, the way that they did it, it just clicked with me. It was really fun. And something about Corrin I hate because you play as Corrin. So it was kind of fun to actually watch the reveal trailer because I'd never seen it before. And again, it's just like that real fun element that Smash trailers should be, where they just lean into the series itself, but then kind of take the piss out of itself as well in terms of it going into Smash. So yeah, that was my number 6.
Cool. Corrin's not in my list. So
okay, there you go.
My number 4 is Palutena.
Ah, yes.
So Palutena was kind of leaked before, but a lot of people, it wasn't like, okay, this is 100%. Everyone was like still up in the air about it. So when this trailer came, it was great to get the confirmation. I just love the way this is animated. It's it's animated by an anime studio. I'm not sure if it's the same that did the shorts for Kid Icarus. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. I just love this trailer. The fight between Pit and Link is epic, and then Palutena comes in, and then it's just, I love the comedy in this one. You also got the reveal of Dark Pit at the end, but I just the way this is animated and I guess the humor in it, and we also got to see the crazy moveset that Palutena had in Wii U that is so a majority of that stuff came across, but I'm like, oh wow, that, because I never played this Palutena in Wii U, and I'm like, wow, was some of this stuff just not, they didn't bring across, but it was I just love this trailer, and I remember loving it when it came out.
Yeah, no, this trailer was cool. This is actually 11th on my list, and she was in my top 10 for a while, and it just kind of got bumped down, mostly because of Steve, actually. Just because of the sort of magnitude. But yeah, I guess that's a good thing of having all 40 ranked. Then I know where some of these land outside of the top 10. All right, cool. I can't believe you got your top 2 left. That's so insane. This is going to be impossible to merge these together. I'll go for my number 5, and I don't think you'll be able to guess this, but my number 5 is Bowser Jr. This trailer was so cool. Like, and look, like, to be fair, I'm super nostalgic to like Super Mario Brothers 3. So they had the Super Mario Brothers 3, what do they call it? Like, the World 8 kind of theme running through it. And just the kind of reveal of all the sort of, Super Mario World villains as well at the end. I don't know. It was really, really cool, this trailer. It just clicked with me. I really love it. I love Mario so much. And yeah, it's just a really cool trailer. So I had it as my number 5.
Yeah, I didn't mind this trailer. It's not in my list. I didn't mind this trailer, but this is a victim of the anti-hype that I was mentioning, because unfortunately all these characters got kind of leaked. And this is definitely my favorite of all those trailers, the ones that got leaked. But yeah, it's cool. But not my 1 or 2. So,
all right. Do you want me to do my number 4 and then you can do your top 2? Just because I think that would be better.
Sounds good.
Look, and I wasn't affected by the leaks and all of that kind of stuff. So my number 4, and I guess when you think about it, this is my number 1 kind of like single character reveal, and I don't think you'd be able to guess this, but it's actually Duck Hunt. So I'd never seen this reveal before, and I watched it, and I was just like, this is such a cool trailer. And yes, I'm like super nostalgic for like the NES, NES era, but just the way it was revealed, the way it played out, like later in the trailer where you've got like a zapper. It's like you're almost like out of Smash and you've got like an extra person zapping the screen. And just like the idea of getting Duck Hunt into the game, it's just so wild. I was just like, this is such a cool trailer. Like I was super hyped. It was weird. I was watching it going, man, I'm so hyped. I want to play Duck Hunt in Ultimate.
Duck Hunt's fun.
Yeah. No, it is. I've never seen this trailer before. So yeah, it was my number 4.
Okay. Well, Duck Hunt is not my 1 or 2. Just putting that
Here
out
we
there.
go. Yeah, I'm super interested to see what your top 2 is.
I mean,
What's number 2?
Hype is a big thing for me, so these two are huge. So my number 2 is Mega Man.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so Mega Man was up there for me as well, yeah.
So this trailer, like everyone was expecting Mega Man to be in the Wii U one, but it was still epic. I think it was in the E3 Direct. I'm not sure there, but I think it was in E3 time at least. And the way they animate this, where they show him up on the mountain, then you're like, wait, and then it has the sound effects, and then the music kicks in, and it's like Mega Man music is just the best music next to Castlevania.
Yeah, it's sick. Because he had the hair, so it's kind of like, is that really Mega Man? Like, and then the helmet comes on, and it's like, oh shit, it's Mega Man.
Yeah, and the sound effects, and then they had like him fighting against the other characters with all the different I can't remember, the Razor or whatever that's called, the Cutman's move, and it's like all the different moves, and then they cross. Then they're showing the gameplay. This was just pure hype, and it made so many people happy that I just cannot separate that from my feelings on the trailer. This was like one of the big, oh my god, this is awesome kind of moments. So
yeah, no, like I totally get you. Like even because I didn't live through it at the time, but even watching it in retrospect, I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. This is like a pretty cool trailer.
So
nice. All right. Well, you're number 1. This is like, I can I guess? No, let's not. I won't guess. You tell me.
Okay. So my number 1 is Byleth. Nah, just kidding.
Shut up.
That trailer's okay. Nah, that's not it.
That's a very Sakurai joke. I was actually thinking, wait, are you being serious? We're gonna get it killed.
That's where I found my new main. No, my number 1 is Cloud, of course.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I thought you were going to say Hero.
Man? What else?
Joker. Sorry, I thought you were going to say Joker.
Oh, the Joker trailer's okay, but you didn't see any gameplay, and that docked points off it. Otherwise, Joker would consider in the top 10.
Yeah.
No, Cloud. Talk about hype. This was crazy because, unlike a lot of other characters, there was no leak about this. And it was just so epic to see the intro with the music from Final Fantasy VII, and you're like, wait a second. And they didn't intro as Smash Brothers at the time. So you're like, wait, what's this? Because we already knew that Final Fantasy VII, the normal version was coming to Switch. So it's like, wait, no, this isn't the remake. What's happening? And then they show the Smash Brothers logos. You're like, whoa, what the hell is going on? And at that point, it's just the way it plays out, and then the way they edit this trailer. To me, they edited this to perfection because they just, they didn't show anything about the limit break until halfway through, and then suddenly you're like, whoa, there's a limit break system. And they show the stage, which I know that stage is very divisive, but I love it because I love all, the summons from the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. And it's just so cool to see it all come together. So that's easily my number 1. I wouldn't have even thought of anything else.
Ah, interesting.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to say Joker, but then, it was, I thought Cloud would be up there or Joker. So I was kind of, okay, wow, we're in trouble here.
Well,
I don't know why. When there's 40 options, I thought we'd have more in common.
Well, I think there's 2 easy ones that we don't include because they're both.
Well, can we just say?
10s.
Yeah, sure. And I think like anything that's on both of our list has to make it, yeah?
Yeah.
So you've got like, and I'm not putting this in positions where I think
Yeah,
they should
that's
be.
fine.
I'm just
That's
moving them
fine.
around. So like these three have to go there.
And Terry.
Yeah. And that's it for now. I'm going to make a quick call on Palutena because I had her as 11. So she was right on the cusp for me as well. So that's already 5.
So I would say, it's tough. I definitely don't.
I'll say Banjo and King K. Rool. To me, they are very linked in my mind.
They are.
So,
but you've got Banjo lower than I've got King K. Rool, so
I'm happy to concede if I get something that I want.
Well, you can have Duck Hunt. So there you go.
I'll keep King K. Rool, and then I'll take my Duck Hunt because I love that trailer so much.
So we need 2.
So what are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4,
3 more,
5, 6, 7. We need 3 more.
So I mean,
I feel like I have to take your number 1.
Cloud has to be in there. Yeah, Cloud has to be in there.
Well, yeah, but it's your number 1 as well. Like that'd be ridiculous if your number 1 didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna need 2 more. Is this as simple as just taking your number 2? Maybe it is.
I think you have to take my number 2 and you have to take your Bowser Jr. unless there's anything else you want to put in.
Or is there anything in between that we should? Because what else did I have? I had Pac-Man really high.
But they didn't. We didn't rank him in number 10, so I don't.
I know.
Think that works. I don't think
seems strange. I know. All right. So you're taking Mega Man, and then Bowser Jr.
Well, this is up to you. Which one you want to take?
Well, but no. But which one would you pull in out of those two? Bowser Jr. and Corrin.
No. So it's Bowser Jr., Corrin, and Min Min.
Yeah. Because
honestly, I'd take Min Min out of those.
All right, because a lot of my list is already here. Like that's the other element. I guess a lot of your list is here as well.
I'd take Min Min, but I'm okay for you to make the choice. So.
I just think the Min Min and Terry ones are quite similar.
Okay, I don't see any similarity between them, but that's fine.
No, Min Min and Terry because they're both like their whole rosters are.
That part of it. That part
the
of it.
invitation.
Yeah.
Like thematically, it's very similar.
Okay.
Bowser Jr. or Corrin or Min Min. We don't have anything from Fire Emblem, do we?
No, because honestly, the Fire Emblem, like the Lucina one, Robin one, to me was the best Fire Emblem, but that's not in there. So.
All right, I'm taking Bowser Jr.
All right.
You happy with that?
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Okay.
I think Terry has to be in the top 3 somewhere or at least in the top 5. So maybe put Terry 3 for now.
Yeah, Terry has to be top 3. That's no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm actually comfortable with everyone is here being in the top 3.
I'd say put that as 2.
I think that out of these 3, one of them has to be in the top 3 at least.
Put it as 2 for now, and then because it'll probably by process elimination, we'll probably figure out maybe there isn't anything else.
Yeah, it has to be in the top 3. Top 3, I'll give it. Because I'm almost debating whether Terry should be number 1.
Snake.
But anyway,
Snake should definitely be in like the next row somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And how about the Mii Fighter one?
Mii Fighter one, I'd put just after. Actually, that can almost, because that's your number 1. Actually, because that's your number 1 that goes before Snake. That's a number 1 pick has a lot of clout, I think.
Yeah, all right. I'm comfortable if that's in that row, and maybe Snake can be in the next row.
I reckon Cloud has to go on this second row if your pick's in that row.
Yeah, well. No, I think that's fair.
Man, this is way more amicable than I planned.
I know. You know, a lot of the times when we've done this, it's been much more amicable than normal conversations that we have.
I reckon we've got to look in order of our list. So your top 3 are already covered.
That's too simplistic, though.
No. I reckon Mega Man has to go somewhere just after Cloud because that's my number 2 pick. Because your top 3 is already in this.
I don't think it's this list. I don't think it's this high. I actually would be more comfortable if Palutena went into this row.
You didn't even rank Palutena.
No, I did. She's 11th.
Oh, come on, that doesn't count.
No. But once think about it this way. Once I start eliminating the ones that haven't made it, Corin is gone, Min Min's gone, Banjo's gone, Steve's gone for me, right? Then
but
she's
I was
seventh.
saying your top 3 is already covered off. I've got one from my top 3 that isn't, and it's my second pick.
Yeah, no, Mega Man is in the second row, isn't it?
Yeah, I said.
I was trying to bump it out. Wait, I gotta get my facts right.
I reckon Mega Man needs to go after Cloud. Whether or not there's a one in between or not, I don't know. But yeah.
Well, how about if it's like this? If it's shaping up like this, like that, and then I put Mega Man 7th.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then Palutena here.
But you didn't rank Palutena, so that's
I had her as 11th. I had her as 11th.
Yeah, and I picked Mega Man as 2. So Mega Man definitely before Palutena, 100%. There's no question. There's no question about that one.
More than this one? More than Snake? Well, why is my Snake down in 7th then?
Well, we haven't figured that out yet. I'm not saying before Snake. I didn't say that.
This is not getting amicable.
All right. How about this, right? How about move Terry to number 1 for now?
Oh, really?
And we can swap things around if necessary. Just
nah,
move the number 1.
I don't think Terry. I can put Terry's number 2. I can put Terry's number 2.
I just want to clear the number 3 space so we can put Reggie up there. That's all.
Okay. Oh, you want to put Reggie up there?
Just for now. So now,
okay. So these are okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can put this here. Maybe
I reckon I reckon Palutena
like
goes bottom left, and Mega Man goes on the right of the second row.
Oh, really? Who's going to go in the middle then?
Snake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll go for that. Like this?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. Looks good.
It just seems odd that, because she's 11th for me, and then she's 4th for you. 7th. Okay, maybe. All right.
There is no 11th. It doesn't count. You didn't rank her. This is top 10.
I did rank her. I ranked everyone. I got top 40.
Top 10.
I got top 40.
Top 10. All right. I reckon if you want, you've got to make a decision. Oh, no, you don't.
Well,
no. I reckon
you've got King K. Rool 6.
I reckon King K. Rool, if that's kind of also almost representing Banjo-Kazooie in a way, almost, I reckon that goes after Palutena. And then you've got to make a decision where you rank the other 2.
Well, I'd rank them in order, right? Obviously. But I'd like it if they were like in between or something. You know, if it was like more like this. Because then it breaks up the Wii U ones.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to sit there debating over King K. Rool is number 8 or 9 in a Smash reveal.
It matters, man. It matters. We've got to keep it up to date.
All right.
Something could bump it off.
I'm okay with everything below the top row, so now we just need to figure out what we're going to do at the top.
Really, Cloud above Snake? I don't know about that, man.
100%. That's my number one pick.
It's your number one pick, though. I know.
No question.
I know. No question.
Okay.
I don't know. Just feels wrong.
I don't think Terry is number one.
It's pretty. Look, I just on the Cloud thing, it was pretty hype. Even watching it again, of just like, you know, Smash Brothers, and then it goes Final Fantasy, and you're like, damn, what? Yes, Final Fantasy?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the thing is, right?
Should Terry be number one? That's what I wonder.
Out of these 3, like Terry, I would never put number 1 out of everything. It was number 3, which is high, but I also had those 2 which just wouldn't have been moved. So I'm happy to concede everyone is here. Terry, Reggie, or the Mii Fighter one. I'm happy to do it as that.
Oh, that's not fun.
Well, I'm kind of like, they're all great. You know what I mean? Those 3 are all great. And the more I think about it, the Mii Fighter one, I'm happy to definitely be number 3 because, well, I'll put that as number 9. That is great. And as we talked about, is like represents Nintendo so well that in that period. Terry, I think, as number 1 would be, I don't think that's probably right. I think everyone here is probably feels right, honestly.
But you know okay. I'm going to mount a case against everyone is here because everyone here is here. Correct me if I'm wrong. They didn't announce one single new character.
So it was the first time we saw Inkling, but they obviously had
No,
that teaser.
no.
Wait, no, that was
No,
they
but
had the
you knew
teaser.
that she was in it then.
Yes, but the thing is, it's the first time we saw it, so that was the first time we saw the new character. Now the weird part.
That's a big knock on it.
The weird part is that everyone is connected to the Ridley trailer in my head, but we've treated the Ridley trailer as a separate one, which makes sense. But in my head, that's part and parcel of everything because it was the whole announcement and had the Ridley at the end. So,
Oh, did it as the bumper?
yeah.
I don't remember that. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I thought Simon came before Ridley.
No, Simon was a separate thing.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Simon opened the direct,
okay,
but yeah.
Okay, that's quite important. That's quite because I think you could consider it as one thing because it's like what you're watching at the time, right? So you're saying you played it straight after it.
Yeah, we also. I'm not sure if we got. No, I don't think we got the Echo Fighters in this one. I think that was a later one, wasn't it?
No, I think they talked about the Echo Fighters in it, didn't they?
Because when they announced Echo Fighters, they also announced Dark Samus and Daisy at the same time. So I don't know if it was in this one or the next one. But anyway, I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to drag it on much longer. I'm happy with that.
Okay, so we're saying everyone is here is the best Smash reveal. Terry's number 2.
Yep.
And then the Mii Fighters is number 3.
I'm cool with that.
That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't think I'm a little questionable about the Duck Hunt and the Bowser Jr., but I'm cool with that. You had those ranked high, so I can't say anything about that.
Well, what would you bump?
Huh?
What would you bump down?
No, I'm happy with this. I'm not gonna.
Well, let's do a stock take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of mine made it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of yours made it.
So I'm not saying bump it up.
You're like, I want to get rid of you, number 10. No, I'm really happy with this list actually. When we put our lists together, I was like, shit, this is going to be impossible to merge. Because originally I was going to say let's put a point system together, but then it kind of, because you reversed my order, it would have eliminated the point system. All right, nice. Very well. All right, we'll have to publish this and get slammed by people.
Oh yeah, totally. People are going to be like, he didn't have Cloud in his top 10. What are you talking about, you idiot?
I'll like say I don't pick things based on what people think. I don't really care what people think, but that is true. The fact that I don't have, because Mega Man and Cloud in the top 10, people are going to slam that. But I do wonder if people over time will slam you for not having Steve in there. So that will be the one for you.
I don't know.
All right. All right, that was fun. And like I said at the start of the segment, we will loop back and do a Smash draft with the 4 remaining characters, but I would probably say that's probably a month or so away.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, awesome. Well, that wraps us up for this week's show. As always, if you want to help us out, make sure you share the show with a friend or give it a good review on your podcast service of choice. But with that said, it's bye-bye.
See ya.